Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
The L-TAC Cup Series heads north to Loudon, New Hampshire to take on their 12th race of the season on a one-miler that races like a short track. Last week at Pocono, Anthony Musatti outlasted the field for his first win of the season, while his Badger Racing teammate Holden McGill was able to walk away with a 42-point advantage in the championship standings coming into tonight. This L-TAC season has been one of the most competitive stock car series on the sim, as we have had 9 different winners in the first 11 races, with names like Joseph, Logan Hamilton, and Taylor Butcher Benjamin and more still searching for their first taste at victory. We may very well see our 10th different winner tonight in New England. This is round 12 of the 2021 L-TAC Season 2 Cup Series, and it's coming at you live on Pit Stop TV. Happy Friday, everybody, and we are in for a treat here tonight with this race, the 12th of the season, here on Pit Stop TV for the L-TAC Racing League. I'm Eric Brennan. Pleasure to be with you this evening. We've got Emerson Arden joining me on the call. He's also going to be handling our production duties, so one of the busiest men on the team tonight is going to be Emerson, and you'll be hearing from him in just a moment. Speaking of some of our crew members who are busy, Corey Rexford is going to be posting and sharing a lot of our information tonight across our social media platforms. And Corey, as always, is able to hit it out of the park for us as far as spreading the word for some of the stock car racing competition we are about to see. And also a highlight on the bottom right-hand portion of your screen, if you want to join our crew, there's an email address attached there. As always, we are constantly adding new series and platforms, or new series, I should say, to the platform. And if you want to be a part of our crew, that's an opportunity for you to submit some of your content to join us on the call of some of these races. With that in mind, though, here's a couple of outlets in which you can catch our action. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. I'll provide the URLs a little bit later on, but first, let's highlight this series, these drivers, and this track. I'm going to welcome into the broadcast booth Emerson Arden. And Emerson, the Magic Mile, this place, which is now down to 1 race a year on the NASCAR Cup Series side, but provides a really unique racing atmosphere. I said in the intro, it is a 1-mile oval that races like a short track. As we can tell by practice, and as we pull up the track map here, you could see why.
Yeah, thank you for welcoming me in tonight, Eric. Pleasure to be here tonight. Love covering this L-TAC Cup Series here on Pit Stop TV. Tonight, New Hampshire. Fun track. One of my favorite tracks on the sim. It's, it's flat. It's all about really the patience in the center of these corners. These are long, flat corners. 2 to 7 degrees of banking in the corners. And even on the innermost lane, there's a little bit of inverse banking that you kind of want to stay off of, unless maybe later in the run you want to use it to help the car turn. You kind of see these guys play around with that. But I just love how much focus you need at a track like this, even though it looks like just a plain oval.
Yeah, well, you brought out a great point, Emerson. The fact that this track does have that variable banking in the corners, we may see some drivers try to hook the left sides on the inside of the racetrack on the exit of turn number 2 and 4. Depending on the way in which you are driving the corner, that could upset the car tremendously, as we saw in practice. A lot of drivers losing it on the exit of turn number 2 and 4. Or it could, in fact, perhaps gain a little bit of an advantage to drivers who are fighting a tight condition off the corner. That's something we're going to be keeping our eyes out on for this 152 lap race. And I say that in a joking context. For many who have followed the Major League Stock Car Series, oftentimes a sponsor would come in and add an extra lap to the event to make it 301 laps on the Cup side. So the L-TAC guys decided to have a little bit of fun with it as well. Our first and second stage going to be 32 laps in distance. Our final will be 82 laps in total, going around this 1.058 mile course, as you see in front of you. Now, we are kind of hyping up how competitive this series is. Let's keep in mind that we're just 7 races away from setting our 16 driver championship playoff, and it's all based on points. There really is no win and you're in scenario, so you've got to have a matter of consistency on your side once you wrap up this regular season championship. And Holden McGill has been holding it down on the top of the championship pylon. He's got Joseph there in second, and then we've got Logan Hamilton third. But the winners kind of stretch their way all throughout the field. And there's even a winner who's not pictured here as well, a driver who tasted victory earlier in the season, but it's been competitive on a number of facets, Emerson, and the point standings kind of prove that. And there are some names here who may threaten for a victory here tonight.
Absolutely. If we recall back to last year, remember Taylor Butcher Benjamin, one of the names we talked about a lot up front last season. He's there 5th in the point standings without a win. Joseph, fast everywhere. He still has yet to win a race this season. Logan Hamilton, another one of those drivers that's always up there, but not really able to seal the deal sometimes at the end. And yeah, there's a lot of different names up here that haven't won. And of course, you look at the winners: Holden McGill, Merrick Watchorn, Rolla Vel, Peterson. All these guys up here in the points. This is very competitive. Like we said, I could really see almost any of these 20 guys, ending up with the win tonight.
And as you can see, the asterisks to the right-hand side of the names indicate whether or not they've gone to victory lane this season. So you can see we've only had 2 multi-time winners on the season, one of which being that the driver of Grant Peterson, who is 7th in points, and the driver just behind him, Jack B. Ryan. They're the only 2 across the campaign that have been able to taste victory more than once. But there's a lot of drivers there who have not had such luck. But we're looking at the drivers 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and on back. They are the ones trying to squeeze their way up into playoff contention. And you see the gap there between 16th and 15th, respectively, between Stefan Purcell and Barrick Uphold. Only 5 points separate the possibility of being able to compete for a championship 7 races from now and not. That's something we're going to keep our eye on for the remainder of this L-TAC season and going forward. Now, the schedule kind of ramps up in intensity a little bit as we go further along. Obviously, we are here in New Hampshire tonight. Then the series is going to move to Texas. They're going to have a week off for the All-Star race at the Bristol Dirt Track. Then it's the Charlotte Roval, Auto Club Speedway, Indianapolis, Phoenix, and the Charlotte Oval as the final race before they lead into their championship. So that's why tonight's race carries so much significance. This is a bit of a wild card. It may not seem so when you look at the standings or when you look at the schedule in its entirety, but judging by the fact that, Emerson, we talked about this place races like a short track, what we mean is you might see a little bit of bumping, you might see a little bit of rubbing, but you also may end up seeing a couple of incidents that may end up catching up or wrapping up a handful of drivers who may not intend to be part of the conflict and contact. So that's a couple of things that we have to keep in store as we move on forward throughout this racing season. So that is how things stand heading into tonight's race. And we talked about the fact that our stage lengths and our stage breaks going to be lap 35 in, 35 after, 82 to the checkered flag. So those are the numbers we're going to be looking at here. And pit strategy is going to play a big role as well, as this race comes down to its eventual conclusion a little bit later on tonight. And we talk about the fact how this track races like a short track. Pit strategy is part of that. You will see some drivers try to play a differing strategy, maybe stay out, maybe delay their time to come down for service, for the simple fact of they want to have a chance to gain track position. It's very hard to pass here, Emerson Arden, and I think that's one of the reasons why pit strategy may be the best option to work your way through the field.
Absolutely. It's a single lane. There's like 4 lanes in the corners, but it's a single lane racetrack. Your only way forward is really, really gaming the strategy, either, staying out when a lot of people pit, or I guess forcibly moving your way forward with the chrome horn, we like to call. But yeah, pit strategy is going to be huge tonight, because if you can really nail it, I mean, depending on the age of your tires, you're able to defend pretty well, because it's a single lane racetrack. You got really know your corner exit on older tires, but other than that, tire strategy could be huge tonight.
Yeah, and that's one of the easiest way to gain ground in the running order, but it's also one of the easiest ways to end up in trouble. And we saw it at Dover. That was probably one of the last opportunities that we saw drivers really kind of mess around a little bit when it came to pit strategy and trying to cycle their way to the front of the field on a track that is so narrow like that of Dover International Speedway. And we saw drivers cycle their way up towards the front of the field, and then it all of a sudden created instances where there were drivers with fresh rubber trying to rocket their way towards the front of the pack, and it created some very interesting scenarios. We might see some of that tonight. Now, we highlighted some of the names in the introduction as to who has yet to visit victory lane. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who was on screen in car number 1, garnering the old school Mountain Dew colors, a livery that is similar to one that Dale Earnhardt Jr. ran back in the day during his Cup tenure. And he is one of the drivers who was looking to find victory lane for the first time. That is despite the fact that he's had a competitive season. How about 8 top 10s and 4 top 5s for the RCS driver, who has been up towards the front a lot, just needs a little bit of luck on his side in order to get there and break through for a win. And tonight may be the night if he can keep that car pointed in the right direction, specifically coming off the corner. He's one of the first drivers to try to lay down a quick time here in qualifying, and we'll see how it all pans out as Jack B. Ryan goes quickest early in this session. We have a look here at one of the multi-time winners on the season, while the rest of the drivers will start to click off some laps, and Logan Hamilton goes to the top, but only momentarily. Now it's Merrick Watchorn who was the quickest by a very narrow margin, less than a tenth of a second, while a lot of these drivers work on their second lap.
Yeah, we had a lot more drivers coming out here. Actually, a lot of drivers holding in the pits, I should say. Drivers wrapping up their second lap, so the 13 that have taken time now. But we have Jeremy Berger wrapping up his first lap. Jack Ryan goes top of the charts once again with his 29.750. Dingler with 1/1000th off of that time. That one's gotta hurt. Dingler coming to a stop here in turn 2, so I'm assuming that was his second lap. And Jeremy Berger's going at it here. This is his first lap was invalid, so this is his second lap.
We mentioned how competitive this L-TAC Cup Series field is. Look at the top 3 right now. Now, that is subject to change, of course, but, I mean, look at that gap there. 16 thousandths of a second. You got less than a tenth of a second covering pretty much there, that top 3. Less than 2/10 of a second covering the top 7. And Joseph is somebody who jumped in the session rather late. Happy to see him here. Remember, he was racing while on the road not that long ago and doing all that he can to remain up towards the front of the running order, trying to find victory lane for the first time. But here's your points leader, Holden McGill, who, remember, he was in the battle for the race lead and win at Pocono just 1 week ago and got caught up in a bit of an accident. But despite that, some of his closest competition also suffered some misfortune, and he retains the point lead coming into this race at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. But right now, Holden McGill has not laid down a lap time close enough to get him up in the top 5. He's currently scored 9th with less than 2 minutes to go in qualifying, and a big slide out of 2 for McGill.
Yeah, I didn't really like that line he took into turn 1, so I don't know if the second lap is going to be any faster. But then again, there's a reason why we're in the booth and they're on the track. We'll see what Holden McGill can do. Shouldn't doubt his ability at all. Comes to the line, will it be an improvement? It will not be an improvement. It is 2/10 slower than his previous lap. So right now, 15 drivers have taken time. We still have about 8 waiting to take time with 80 seconds left.
And we'll see if they're able to get lap times in. There is a probability that maybe somebody had a problem. You see Tommy Gossett, one of the drivers who has yet to clock in. He made his L-TAC debut just a few weeks ago at the Dover International Speedway. And Gossett is somebody who we have to keep our eye on as a potential outlier, or maybe one of the drivers who could pull off a bit of an upset if he could find victory lane here, as he has been very busy on the stock car side of the sim. But for right now, it is Jack B. Ryan, Ryan Dingler, and Merrick Watchorn, your top 3 in qualifying for the time being. And then we have to drop back there to the 4th place position, where you would find Colin Stone, who's had a very strong effort here in qualifying. Looks assured, perhaps, to finish in the top 5 once the session winds down. And Logan Hamilton, your top 5. We're watching Holden McGill come down the pit lane, and that may pretty much be it. But Emerson, here's a chance to take a look at our weather here. You see cloudy skies on the sim. That's going to change the track temperature circumstances on a relatively calm day in the virtual New England world.
Yeah, 103-degree track temp. These drivers are definitely going to feel it, but they're also going to feel this track temp come down. That overcast is going to be pretty nice for those Goodyear tires that they're going to have on to start this race. Yeah, 1 mile per hour wind should not be affecting them too much whatsoever. Yeah, timing's going to tick down here in qualifying.
So by 1/1000th of a second, Jack B. Ryan. 8th in points, 2-time winner on the pole with Ryan Dingler. Going to start up alongside here tonight is that of Dingler. He's somebody who's going to be looking to find victory lane as well here on the Magic Mile. Car 8's going to roll off on the outside of row number 1 in the 2nd spot. 3rd place, Merrick Watchhorn, who has a win under his belt already this season. And Colin Stone, a great qualifying effort for car 43. He'll start on the outside of row number 2 as we come down to green for this 152-lap affair. Now we'll drop back to row number 3 by virtue of the qualifying order. Taylor Butcher Benjamin and Logan Hamilton take you there. Actually, reverse that there. Logan Hamilton, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, 5th and 6th respectively, I should say, as we move back now to row 4. Starting in the 7th position by virtue of qualifying, it's going to be Joseph, runner-up in points. Barrick Uphold in 8th. And rounding out your top 10 after qualifying was complete is going to be that of, in the 9th position, we will find, let's see here, as we pull that up for you. The 9th qualifier was, in fact, Holden McGill, the point leader, and Cole Freilich, your top 10.
We found our way back to row number 6 here. Jeremy Berger and Frank Flores making up row 6, and something has gone amiss on the grid. There's only 5 drivers out there, unless only 5 drivers decide to take the grid. Not entirely sure what's going on, but we're going green now. Now the cautions come back out, so it looks like they're gonna try to sort this out. Look at all those drivers in the pit lane.
Looks like there might have been an issue with trying to get the field to grid up, and I noticed they rolled off relatively quick. That might have been a blip by the iRacing sim. We had something, or we saw something similar of this nature happen a couple of weeks back in the major Coca-Cola iRacing series. So there's been a lot of updates that have been put out by the sim that try to help improve the competition of the racing. Emerson, I'll throw it back over to you as we now work behind the caution flag. We'll see how the admins are able to handle this here to try to right the ship per se here and maybe make up for a glitch that was in the system. We'll take a look at the rest of the starting lineup.
Yeah, the drivers slated to start in row number 7 were Robert Pattengale, Brett Fisher. Row number 8, we had Grant Peterson, Tommy Gossett. Row number 9, Brendan Jinks and Richard Springer. And row number 10 is Rob Melnick and Kevin Franks. And it looks like the field's coming to a stop here on the front straightaway. They got to let the pace car by. And looks like they're going to maybe allow these drivers to get to their starting positions and maybe just clear penalties from there. I don't know what the deal is, but these admins, they'll get it sorted out.
Now we'll look outside the top 20. Stefan Purcell, who, as we mentioned, trying to hold on to that 16th place position in the point standings, while Sean Deal in the 44 is going to roll off in 22nd spot. Now back to 23rd is where you're going to find Ryder Schrauf, who also is trying to get up there in playoff contention. 18th in points, while Bradley Walters in the 59 will start in 24th position. 25th spot, you don't see anybody. We got 24 cars here tonight to compete in this event, and hats off to the officials to try to right the ship here after a bit of an issue and a glitch that kind of only allowed the first 5 cars out in time to partake in the parade and pace laps, and we'll see how things kind of cycle through once the laps are completed. These laps may end up counting depending on how the sim is able to react to this, and they'll try to re-rack the field. And Emerson, unfortunately, this is one of the facets of sim racing that is oftentimes hard to try to get your hands on. A small little blip or a small little chink in the armor, I could say, could kind of unravel things. And hats off to the officials for taking the time here to kind of re-rack the field, get people where they belong in the running order. Of course, we're going to have double file restarts. This may eat up a couple of laps as far as how we're going to progress through stage 1. But nevertheless, they're doing what they can to make sure that everybody is caught up on lead lap, ready to roll, and ready to take off here and contest in what is going to still be a 152-lap event as we see Brendan Jenks coming off the pit lane.
Absolutely. So these laps are counting. This is, I guess, race conditions, a green-yellow, if you will. That's a rare condition in NASCAR where the race was started, but not really any overtaking allowed. They were just, I guess, trying to get the laps ticking down. This was not intentional by any means. And we'll see. I guess really we're just kind of waiting to see how this plays out. Looks like they're gonna maybe just call this as the start. Kind of the 5 drivers who gridded up might have just gotten lucky.
And I love that you bring up that green-yellow scenario, because that is a real-life representation of how something like this can happen. We've seen it in the past, as it looks as though the lights are out on the pace car, but back in the day when we would see like rain conditions take place at some of the NASCAR tracks, they would finish drying it, but it wasn't fully dry to be able to race. They would throw a green flag to start the lap counter, but keep the caution out to allow cars to continue to circulate and generate heat in the racetrack. So that's kind of similar to what we got going on here. So we'll play with that. It didn't take long to figure it out, Emerson, as it looks as though we're a half lap away from going green.
Absolutely. And yeah, Colin Stone making a nice I guess move up to the outside of the front row. He'll be starting alongside Jack B. Ryan we'll come around and start the 5th lap of this race.
So it's going to be a unique start here for the L-TAC Cup Series in race number 12 of the season.
And they've added a caution lap.
And it looks as though they're going to extend this caution flag here around a little bit more. You see a couple of cars moving ahead of the pace vehicle. We're following what is our provisional pole sitter in Jack B. Ryan. And my heart goes out to the race organizers, because this is a tough set of circumstances to try to wrangle in and kind of right as far as once the session gets underway and gets going. And the cooperation of the drivers is going to be essential as far as making sure that this is done in a proper fashion. But unfortunately, it's eating away some time on the clock. And 35 lap stage, that means we're only going to have 30 to go here by the time we get this thing back going. And the running order is still a little bit of a question mark as far as the official standings once we get this race rewrited. But they may have to wave around these 5 cars who took the initial green flag in order for us to get this thing back underway properly. And also, I understand they may be giving some laps back, so drivers will have to go ahead and make sure that that takes place. But what an interesting start to this one. I'll tell you, it's not indicative of how these races typically go by any stretch of the imagination, but this is just a product of having to deal with some of the facts that, you know, this sim model and the way in which these things are set up, there are some hurdles to get over if, in fact, something does go awry, and it takes a little bit longer than it may in a real-life setting. So right now we're working our way through that. You can see the field now catching up to the tail end of the pace vehicle, working what appears to be that of lap 7, with Jack B. Ryan assuming his position here back up into P1.
Yeah, and I've race controlled a few races before. This is not easy. I've never had this happen, but I've had, cautions come out in pit cycle, and it is a nightmare to get the field sorted out. So I can't imagine, only having 5 drivers make the initial grid and having to line everybody else back up. So yeah, like you said, my heart goes out to the race organizers, race controllers, because this is tough to make this right.
Yeah, and if by any chance we do have some new viewers on the platform here on Pit Stop TV, I will stress the fact, especially if you're not that privy to iRacing, which I'll admit, I have not turned a lap on the sim in probably 4 years. Most of my duties, it looks like we're going to be coming to the green flag here for this single file start/restart with Jack B. Ryan leading us down the green. Colin Stone 2nd, Logan Hamilton 3rd. We've jumbled up the running order a bit here, but we are underway with green flag competition officially kicking off lap 8. And it's Jack B. Ryan with a clear lead out to the front, but there's a lot of hungry drivers trying to cut a trail to the front, including that of Merrick Watchhorn, Joseph just behind. This is the battle for 4th. This ain't 3, trying to work the outside of Ryan Dingler in car 8.
Yeah, Ryan Dingler, making his way up towards the front, having a nice little appearance in that 8 car. He's going to be put up against some tough competition here. Jack Ryan sets the fastest lap of the race in Hamilton. This is just going to happen at the start of the race. But Merrick Watchhorn, Joseph, 2 names we usually call towards the front of the field a lot. It's going to be some steep competition for Dingler to try to keep behind, and it looks like just Jeremy Berger going around.
Jeremy Berger spins off of turn number 2. He's going to roll that car backwards, and the caution comes out for the driver who, coming into the night, was in the top 10 in championship points in the Burger King number 97 Chevrolet. And Berger, who lost it off of turn number 2, and that was one of our fears as far as potentially being a trouble spot here tonight. Berger, coming out of turn number 2, is battling with Cole Freilich, who we also see on a weekly basis on Tuesday nights in the North Series. They see there just in front of him, one car went wide. Berger with a wise move there to split the middle, but the back end just stepped out all by himself. And hats off to Berger there. Kept his foot in it long enough to spin down and out of harm's way. But that will be the first caution due to an incident here tonight. And that will bunch the field back up together as Berger will get it right on the back straightaway and rejoin the tail end of the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. This track is very tough, especially, riding under caution that, the tires weren't up to temp at all, and we're, 10 laps into the race. Tough conditions, tough little track. And you're trying to get the power down out of that corner. It's such a flat exit, and the wall's coming up to you on the right-hand side. There's so many things, I guess, going on in the cockpit of one of these cars this year. Oh, he's almost hitting Ryder Schraub under yellow. He'll get it woed up. But the exits of these corners at New Hampshire, they're so tough on these, high horsepowered, heavy stock cars.
Absolutely, and that was, we had a bit of a glimpse at the practice session that took place prior to qualifying, and at that point, we kind of knew, and our very own Andrew Cardinale IV, who is down in Greenville, South Carolina for a stock car race he's going to be working this weekend, he chimed in and knew, without even seeing a minute of the practice session, that corner exit is going to be the focus point of tonight. Getting back to the power as aggressively as you can to keep the rear tires planted and to keep that car pointed in the right direction, but not too aggressively that perhaps you burp the rear tires, or worse yet, as we saw Jeremy Berger do, you lose the back end of the race car. So put this under the caution. And Emerson, I'm going to kind of turn to you here for a bit of a racer psychology question. As I mentioned, coming to the green off the restart, as we see the one-to-go signal, I'll ask this quickly. I have not spent that much time in the sim, but considering the fact we had that weird start, we jumbled up the running order. If you're a driver who was intended to start up towards the front of the field and you got shuffled back due to the circumstances, how hard is it to try to counsel patience in what is a really long race on a very tough racetrack?
Well, I guess you really don't have a choice. It's a one-lane racetrack, and the only way to really move forward is, either forcing your way forward or having drivers make mistakes or getting the great run. But, I mean, I can understand, drivers who are heated, especially not starting where, they qualified. It is tough, and, they're going to be pressing to get forward, but, you don't want to damage your car. You don't want to get into other people on your way up doing it.
That's a great point, Emerson. It kind of is what it is. So hopefully the most mentally mature drivers will be able to accept that fact and focus forward as we're getting set to go back on our way. Kicking off lap 13 of the 152-lap affair in race 12 of the L-TAC Racing League, and it's going to be Jack B. Ryan leading him to one. No contact behind him. Colin Stone got an American watch horn, thought that was going to be a big crash. They were able to keep it straight, and off of turn number 2, Joseph trying to work the outside on Stone.
Robert Pattengale dropping back down the running order here. I think he might have been accidentally shuffled forward and doesn't want to be in anybody's way. So good on him, recognizing the situation and taking his time. It's a 152 lap race. It's a long one at New Hampshire, and let the race come to you.
Jack B. Ryan continues to lead, and we mentioned this first stage is going to take us through the completion of lap number 35. So we are getting there closely, as Dingler was the car you saw have the big slide off of turn 2. It's going to allow Taylor Butcher Benjamin a chance to look inside as they approach 3. The preferred line here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, due to that progressive banking, is right where Dingler was running through 3 and 4. We're on board with Taylor Butcher Benjamin. We're going to get a good look at this here. It's actually about a full lane of off the bottom. As a matter of fact, Butcher Benjamin's running even higher on the racetrack. I'd say Dingler's in that preferred line, but he's going to diamond his way down to the inside and catch that transitional banking off of 2 to try to get a good launch down the back straightaway, with Jack B. Ryan still leading. Logan Hamilton second. Dingler the car trying to hang on for dear life off the corner after the big slide just 2 laps ago, with Cole Freilich under fire from Colin Stone and Dingler for a position in the top 5 and 1.
And here's, I think, drivers moving their way forward, really experimenting with how they're going to move forward with, a traditionally single-lane racetrack. Cole Freilich way up the track. I think he feels he's faster than Colin Stone, and he's kind of forcing his way in front of the 43, kind of, just letting him know, hey, I'm going to try anything and almost will do anything to get around you. And I think message delivered to the 43, Cole Freilich has cleared him, and maybe that outside lane may be having something. You're able to extend the straightaways, get more speed down the straightaways.
That's a really good point, Emerson. There are a couple of different ways to drive this racetrack, and it looks as though we got a caution on the speedway, and that's a big crash. Looks as though Grant Peterson is involved, and Robert Pattengale is in the crash. Peterson comes into tonight's race 7th in the championship standings, one of only 2 drivers with more than 1 win on the season. And as you can see, he is caught up in a crash in turn number 1 with Pattengale. Emerson, let's see how it all happened.
And we're watching Grant Peterson work his way through turn 4 here onto the front straightaway. He's behind. This is the 30 of Brett Fisher and the 92 of Barrick Uphold into the corner. Oh, he makes contact with Uphold, Peterson does. And see how this Pattengale. Oh, no.
Yeah, unfortunately for Pattengale, it looked as though he might have gotten on the brakes to avoid the crash. But if you, a word to the wise for all those who may be watching and listening, race car, street car. If you lock the brakes up, unless you have ABS to try to help you down, that thing is going to go straight. Pattengale did the right thing by getting on the binders, but once he did, it just had no direction to turn because he wasn't allowing the front wheels to turn and steer that vehicle as we're on board with him here coming down towards turn number 1. Here's Pattengale, who we saw earlier, got out of harm's way as he was running for position. He sees the smoke ahead of him, gets on the binders, and right into the front of Grant Peterson, the 2-time winner. And Pattengale ends up with some significant front-end damage for a driver who was up front early to start this race, just kind of biding his time and logging some laps was that of Pattengale, and he finds himself in trouble there in turn number 1 after sliding into the crash, with the caution now flying here about 15 laps shy of stage 1.
Yeah, I think that you know, on the more banked racetracks, when the crash happens towards the top of the racetrack, you expect them to kind of roll down. This being a flat racetrack, that, you know, doesn't usually happen unless there's still a lot of energy in that crash still. And I think Pattengale is maybe just, you know, seeing he's pretty far back. You know, maybe the drivers in the crash are going to try to get going, try to merge down into the racing line or whatever. I'm not entirely sure what was happening there, but you know, you genuinely do see cars come from the top of the track to the bottom of the track a lot after crashes happen like that. So maybe he's just anticipating the car going down.
That's a really good point, Emerson. And again, I'll credit you for that, especially because of the fact that I haven't had much time driving in the sim over the last few years. And that's a really good point. If we were at Dover, that car definitely would have slid downward towards the inside of the racetrack. And Pattengale perhaps anticipating that car to not be there at that sector of the corner at the time of the incident. And unfortunately, they sustained some damage here as we are a half a lap away from going back racing. So we got Jack B. Ryan and Logan Hamilton. Your top two, Merrick Watchorn, Joseph, second, third and fourth in row 2, with Cole Freilich and Colin Stone in row 3. Ryan Dingler, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, row 4, Holden McGill, as well as that 30 car of Fisher. Brett Fisher, that is, going to round out our top 10 as we get set for the restart. Pretty much going to be a 15-lap shootout to the end of stage 1 for the L-TAC Cup Series at New Hampshire. Jack B. Ryan, Logan Hamilton lead us down for the restart. They touch doors as they come to the line, and we're back underway.
Down the back straightaway they go. This is Watchorn up the inside, trying to clear his way in the third around Joseph. And now we're really seeing the front runners most weeks come to emerge towards the top of the running order. Cole Freilich there in 5th. Colin Stone hanging tough in 6th with Dingler and TBB, who was also, again, a heavyweight last season at this race. Will he be moving his way forward in the coming laps?
Yep, start to wonder how many drivers are counseling patience, are taking their time to try to work their way up towards the front of the pack, especially knowing that a caution is incoming in about 13 laps from now. So far, though, it's been the pole sitter, Jack B. Ryan, ahead of that of Hamilton. Watchorn, though, is the car on the move. Got shuffled out by virtue of the problems at the start of the race, and he's starting to make some noise there in that number 91 in 3rd spot as we go on board with Watchorn into turn 1, holding a tighter line, trying to close up to the left rear quarter panel of that of Hamilton as they exit turn 2, and Hamilton's got to look on Ryan for the lead.
Yeah, hello, Hamilton, he continues to peak. I don't know how aggressive he's going to be. Whoa, what a run into the corner for Watchorn. You know, maybe Ryan and Hamilton are maybe going at it once again. I know they got together in Kansas, and maybe this is starting to bleed over a little bit. Oh, whoa, big moment for Logan Hamilton.
And look at how hard these drivers are racing for the Stage 1 win. We're 11 laps away from the end of this stage, and they're slapping out the back end of that race car off the corner, trying to get the power down and fight it out for this race lead and stage win. Merrick Watchorn, though, starting to pound on the back bumper of Hamilton here for second spot, with Joseph running very well there in fourth. Looking outside as they come down the main straightaway with Watchorn peeking down low for second. Oh, that's close. Watchorn with a big slide there inside of turn 1. And he catches the car while he slides the tires and may take second away out of 2.
How about that display of car control by both of them? The reactionary move Hamilton had to do and the amazing job of Watchorn holding on to. They almost come together in the apex of 3 and 4. Watchorn, he wants second, almost losing it out of 4 for it, though.
Look at how hard these drivers are wheeling these cars off the corner. Watchorn, now Hamilton with the back end stepping out on him. That's going to cost them second and maybe third. Joseph alongside as they come out of 2, while Watchorn dances the back end around again. What a great race for second on back.
I think dancing is the perfect verb for what's going on here. They are dancing with the cars. The car is the dance partner. The car wants to lead this dance around this tricky 1 mile short track.
So as things finally settle down a little bit here for second, third, and fourth respectively, hats off to all these drivers as far as Watchorn, Joseph, Hamilton, and now Cole Freilich says, hey, I want to get up here in this mix as Watchorn has a slide out of turn number 2. Now that he's up to second spot, what could Merrick Watchorn do with Jack B. Ryan, who has led since the drop of the green flag? The end of the stage is approaching, and also we're starting to see Colin Stone and Ryan Dingler approaching to this battle towards the head of the pack. It's Ryan, Watchorn, Joseph, Hamilton, Freilich, Stone, Dingler, Butcher, Benjamin, McGill, and Fisher, your top 10, as we inch a little bit closer here to the end of stage 1.
Yeah, and I want to say Jack B. Ryan, I mean, he's got the best seat. Not only is, he leading the field and kind of watching all the action happen behind him, he's just, he's really learning the track and the tires up to temp, and I guess kind of learning, if he's watching his mirror, he's learning what to expect maybe on an upcoming restart if these drivers don't get to him in the next 6 laps. He's seeing, the aggression out of Merrick Watchorn, and maybe if Watchorn does get up to Ryan, well, you think big picture, maybe he'll give up the stage and effort, to save that race car for a potential race win. We'll see, but I mean, Merrick Watchorn, he wants to move forward. It's obvious by the way he's driving that thing.
And when we look at the races in which Jack B. Ryan has found success this season, I mean, we go back to the Worldwide Technology Raceway Oval, where it was a physical, 1 1/4 mile oval, similar to that in New Hampshire a little bit, just a little bit longer straightaways that Jack B. Ryan was able to perfect the field. And then he got his second win at Dover, just 2 races, or make that 3 races ago, did that of Jack B. Ryan. And these 1 1/4 mile tracks, Dover a little bit more banked, Gateway kind of right in the middle of New Hampshire and Dover, and then of course here, this semi-flat 1 mile oval, they just kind of seem to suit his driving style, and that may be the difference maker for him to climb his way up through the points. Despite the fact he's got 2 wins, he's missed 2 races coming into tonight. So that's why Jack B. Ryan finds himself mired back in the point standings, as Cole Freilich had a bit of a moment there off of 2. Going to allow Colin Stone back up into the top 5 around the outside. But that's the tale of the tape for Jack B. Ryan, perhaps priming himself for a run at the playoff picture here. 7 races to go coming into tonight. It'll be 6 to go at the end of the checkered flag before we start looking at the playoff bracket. But he's starting to pose a bit of a threat and flex his muscle on these 1 and little over 1 mile ovals. And tonight has been no exception for the driver who's led every lap since the drop of the green.
Absolutely. It's been an incredible ride for Jack B. Ryan, and to be able to see him, I guess, from last season as well, just kind of come up and really, show that he's a force to be reckoned with in this L-TAC Cup Series. I want to go back to what just happened with Freilich and Stone right there. I know Freilich made the mistake off of 2, but Colin Stone just drove around the outside of Cole Freilich the same way Freilich did around Colin Stone about 15 laps ago. I find that very ironic that Colin Stone pretty much just did what was done to him.
Yeah, that's a good point to put out there about Colin Stone, who's having an incredible run here tonight. is Adam Stone, and I love the fact that he's running at number 43, kind of reminiscent to that of the Richard Petty Motorsports entry that is thrown out there on a week-to-week basis in the Cup Series. But Colin has been putting up some impressive numbers here this evening, and he's somebody who is in the playoff contention. He's third in points, is Adam Stone. Only 2 top 10s on the season so far for the bumper-to-bumper racing entry, but he is not locked in, to say the least. Putting together consistent top 10 efforts or top 5 efforts like he finds himself in now, that's going to pay big dividends for that of Stone if he can find his way up here towards the front of the field at the end of this race, perhaps even find victory lane as he's running very strong. We're on the final lap here of stage 1 as the battle for second rages on the backstretch.
Maybe right on board with Joseph. Joseph really sizing up Watcher, and he's going to go to the outside to find any sort of speed. He's going to be able to cross him over here out of turn 4. Jack B. Ryan is going to drive away with this one, though.
Jack B. Ryan to the line. He's going to win stage number 1 at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway from the pole. Watchorn second, Joseph third, while Logan Hamilton comes through in 4th and Colin Stone 5th. Cole Freilich 6th at the line. Here's your stage 1 results on the left-hand side of your screen. Freilich 6th, Ryan Dingler 7th, Taylor Butcher Benjamin 8th, Holden McGill the point leader 9th. And Grant Peterson, was he not just involved in that caution that came out halfway through the stage? He drove his way back up into the top 10 and picked up a stage point. What a job by Peterson.
Yeah, that is incredible. I mean, he had to start, towards the back of the field, get fresh tires on that thing, get that thing repaired, and he's right back up here. It's like he never missed a beat. That stage break, I think that's part of the good thing about stages. I think, if you're a front runner and something happens to you early, you're kind of, you're given kind of those crutches to work your way forward. You already know there's 2 guaranteed cautions if something happens to you in that first stage. So just plan your race around them to try to work your way back forward. And right now he's 10th. So I think, you pit with everybody else. I think everybody's going to come here for 4 tires. And then you it's a whole new race for you. You're starting 10th pretty much if you execute on pit lane.
Now, the race started under unique circumstances. We ran a couple laps under caution. We only had 1 yellow flag due to an incident, but pit road, as you can see, is going to be a busy place, and I don't see many people mixing up the strategy. Jack B. Ryan is going to lead the whole field down the pit lane here. And we'll see if anybody is willing to gamble with perhaps what could be a 2-tire stop. But I agree with you, Emerson Arden. I could see the field taking 4 before they roll back out here for what will be the restart that will kick off another 35-lap stint for stage number 2. We have our eyes now on the field. We'll see how they are able to funnel their way off the pit lane and who will have the edge. But Jack B. Ryan, by virtue of the pole, has that all-important number 1 pit stall, and he is going to smoke them coming off the pit lane. Logan Hamilton's going to pick up 2 spots there. He's going to move to 2nd on the exit of the pit stops. Well, it looks as though Joseph will pull off in 3rd, and the big loser there is going to be that of Merrick Watchorn. Looks as though he lost 5 spots there on the pit stop. And we'll see here what we are getting set for on this restart.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we had a little taste of everything. We had the green yellow, if you will. And then we had that one incident to turn 1 and a solo spin with Jeremy Berger off of turn number 2. And a little bit of a green flag run. I think these drivers learned a lot from that first stage. So I think the second stage and the rest of the race, they have a pretty good sample size. And I think we might even see, I guess these drivers more apt for the conditions tonight.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed is that the cloud cover has kind of grown around this 1-mile racetrack, and I believe that's going to affect the track temperature. We saw it earlier. I believe it's about 103 degrees as far as how the track temperature was, as we're a half a lap away from going green. So this track may be cooling off a little bit. And Joseph, not sure if he got a penalty there. He's going to fall to the rear of the field. So, wow, that's a bit of a heartbreaker for the driver who's 2nd in points, looking for his first win of the season. And he is going to fall to the tail end of the pack, and that's going to move the field up. And the word from our very own Corey Rexford, too many boxes in the pit lane. So he will fall to the tail end of the field. That's going to be fun to watch him work his way further forward. But we're getting set for the restart here to kick off stage 2 of the L-TAC Cup Series at New Hampshire with Jack B. Ryan getting us back underway.
A beautiful start yet again from Jack B. Ryan, but this time he is not alone. You got to see that 12 of Logan Hamilton. He is here and he's ready to tango with Jack B. Ryan. He's right up against that number 2. Will he be able to, hold station the way he did, or will he kind of fall off like stage number 1? He's going for it here, though.
We watched a spirited fight between Logan Hamilton and Merrick Watchorn earlier today for second spot. Now Hamilton is trying to stick his Ford Mustang nose inside of Jack B. Ryan for the race lead, but Ryan pulls him off the corner by the tune of 0.3 of a second, with Hamilton trying to close the entry to turn number 3. This is the battle for the lead while Freilich runs third. Watchorn +2 already after the restart. Dingler to 5th. And we're keeping our eyes on that of Joseph on the Scott timing and scoring ticker on the left-hand side of your screen. After he had to fall to the tail of the pack, he's 19th right now as they work their way through 1.
Looks like Taylor Butcher Benjamin had something similar as well. He's back there as well after being in the top 10 on those stage results. So a couple of drivers to watch looking to work their way through that midfield. And here comes Hamilton right up to that back bumper. Oh, you can see all of that Mustang right there on the grill.
Yeah, coming right into your living room was that of Logan Hamilton. He doesn't care about the fact that he has to try to find a finesse way by that of Jack B. Ryan. Here's the story about Hamilton. No wins on the season for the A&W driver. He wants to change that, and he knows that Jack B. Ryan has been so good on these style tracks, and he is the only thing perhaps that could be stopping him from tasting victory for the first time this season, and he is certainly threatening the back bumper of that Ford of Ryan as they come down the main straightaway. The gap, as you can see, is just under 0.2 of a second, while Cole Freilich is starting to close in as well, as this is a great battle for the lead here through 1 and 2.
Yeah, again, don't look too soon. Like you said, Freilich is there, and should these guys make contact, and again, they've already made contact once this season going at it for the race lead, and you can't really put it past these guys to not do it again. I mean, this is a long season. You see these guys week in and week out, especially if y'all are similar on pace, and this can easily, transpire into something even more. But right now, Hamilton, playing it clean, just really forcing the issue with Jack B. Ryan, trying to force him into a mistake more than anything.
And you see these two kind of running in what I would identify as the preferred line on this racetrack. Because Hamilton is very late on the brakes getting into 3, and he's going to try to work that third lane here, and he's got company coming. I'm not sure if Jack B. Ryan is just kind of pacing himself for the duration of this 35-lap stage, as we've been clean and green since we got back underway here to kick off stage 2. But it looked as though that Hamilton was a little bit more brazen, I would say, on the binders there, getting through 3 that time, and it's allowed him to close up. But the top 5 is pretty much running in close proximity. How about Cole Freilich? He hasn't had things go for him in the nature in which he would hope for on the Nork side of the fence, but he's here tonight here in L-TAC competition, and he's been running in this series for quite some time. 2 starts. This would be start number 3 for the driver, car number 15. 33rd in points with 7 races to go as Watchorn nearly tags him in 1 and 2. Freilich may be looking at an outside shot to make the playoffs if he could put together some solid runs, as long as him and Watchorn don't have another moment like that in the upcoming future of this race.
I gotta say, I know Watchorn, he's being very aggressive sending it into these corners, because to be in Watchorn's defense, that's about the only way you can overtake, is you really send it in there and force your way to the preferred line. But I gotta say, he's got some mighty car control doing it. I haven't seen him lose it yet. Now I hope I didn't jinx it with, still 2/3 of the race to go. But Watchorn has been, I guess, calculated with his dive bombs, if you will.
And we talked about motivation for some of these drivers as Watchorn sails it off into turn number 3 again. Nearly looks inside of Cole Freilich coming out of 4. But you look at Merrick Watchorn. I mean, 4th in points, well in playoff contention. He's got 7 top 10s this season. 5 top 5s for the RCS number 91 entry that he brings to the field as he almost clips Freilich again at the exit of 2. That's good stuff off the quarter with Watchorn hanging on. He doesn't care how his season has shaped up thus far. He wants more, and he's currently trapped in 4th, doing everything he can to get around Freilich for 3rd.
Yeah, I got to shout out Freilich again. That is some immense pressure. Merrick Watchorn, a name that's always up there, towards the front of the running order. He's hounding you, literally inside of you on these corner entries, and he's as cool as a cucumber in the middle of the racetrack. Pinching him down now, contact!
That's going to kick Freilich up into the wall, and Ryan Dingler has to scramble as the whole pack tries to split Freilich after he bounces off the concrete out of 2. That's going to allow Holden McGill to pick up a few spots in the 4th, but Freilich may have some right side damage there after the ping pong effort off a Watchorn, while the field continues to wrestle for spots in the top 10 off 4.
Some great stuff there. I'm not sure how Freilich will take that. I mean, at the same time, Merrick kind of showed his hand several laps in a row. They were almost bound to make contact. Honestly, I'm shocked that they went that long without making contact.
Yeah, a lot of very intense and physical racing as we approach lap number 70. So about 20 laps from now is when we're going to see the end of stage number 2 of this 152-lap affair, with Watchorn now 3rd, McGill 4th, Dingler in 5th. And we have a newcomer up into the 6th spot, a driver who we have not mentioned much here throughout the night, and that's Brendan Jenks, who we are on board with that at 2. He's quietly worked his way up into the top 10 and more, and I don't think he's done yet.
Yeah, Jenks, he started towards the back of the field. He pitted on the green-yellow to start today's race. I believe he started towards the back of the grid. And he's done a nice job. Haven't, really called his name on his way moving forward. So I can't, say he's really done anything, too big to make his way up here other than just really race this race out. And it's been a nice little run for him up to 6th. And I'm kind of excited. I want to see what is this 24 made of?
Well, you see right now he's currently running in the 6th position with Colin Stone just behind. Jeremy Berger, who brought out our first caution for an incident, is running in 8th. Then we got Brian Fisher in 9th, and Joseph, fresh off the pit lane penalty on the last restart to kick the stage off, already back up into the top 10, and Taylor Butcher-Benjamin's been following him as well. They're running 10th and 11th respectively. We look here now as they come down the back straightaway with Dingler under heavy fire from Jenks. And we've kind of had a scenario like this in the past. You see that car is lettered up the number 3, but timing and scoring has it reporting as car 24. So we'll keep that in mind throughout the duration of our call of this race, as we're about 16 laps shy to Jack B. Ryan being able to kick off his night with back-to-back stage wins, fending off Logan Hamilton for the time being.
Yeah, I think Jack B. Ryan, you saw how aggressive and how close Hamilton was at the beginning of that stage, and I think that's just Ryan, saying, "Hey, you run your pace. I'm just gonna be as fast as I need to be to stay in front of you. I'm not gonna try to drive away from you. I'm just gonna sit in front of you and save my stuff." And I think that's starting to show here. Hamilton, is very aggressive. You kind of seeing red right, in front of him with that 2 car, and Ryan was just as cool as a cucumber, letting Hamilton use his stuff up, and that's, I think, the main reason why this gap has opened up actually a 10th since I started talking about it.
And Emerson, we've seen varying degrees of intensity or aggression throughout all the drivers that are pictured in our top 3. I mean, Jack B. Ryan has been in no position to try to put anybody under fire, and the term cool as a cucumber fits quite well. He's just not really wavered, not really bobbled, not really had any mistakes. But Logan Hamilton, couple of times maybe has sent it in a little bit deeper than one would have hoped, and maybe given the likes of Jack B. Ryan a bit of a scare there in the rearview mirror, and watching that 12 car approach abruptly. And then the polar opposite tonight is that of Merrick Watchorn. I mean, he has put that car in every position required in order to make up ground. He's bounced off competitors. He's perhaps shaken some of the competition, but that fits the narrative of Merrick Watchorn on this L-TAC season. He is willing to do what it takes to get to the front, and that is race hard. He's not racing dirty. He's not racing too aggressively. He's racing as hard as he possibly can to give himself a shot, and that's what he has here tonight, as we are not even close to the halfway point. Well, we haven't eclipsed the halfway point just yet. It's going to come shortly after the conclusion of stage number 2, which will hit us in about 12 laps or so here, with Watchorn holding down 3rd.
So you say we're coming up to the conclusion of stage 2. Remember that caution at the was the stage 1 yellow, and we had both Joseph and Taylor Butcher-Benjamin go to the rear. Well, Joseph from the back of the grid is already up to the 8th position, and he's hanging tough, working his way forward. I don't know how many spots are up for grabs ahead of him since he's 1.7 seconds back to the next car. But a nice recovery drive for him up to 8th, and then a few seconds back you'll find Taylor Butcher Benjamin, one spot out of stage points right now in the 11th position.
Yeah, and for Butcher Benjamin, the stage point opportunity is something that he's going to have to keep in mind. He's trying to get up to car number 30. That, of course, is Brett Fisher. I misspoke earlier, said it was Brian Fisher. That's Brett Fisher in the NOS colors in the Ford. And he's all over the backside of Jeremy Berger. But, you know, we talked about there's a 5-point gap right now between the driver who is in the playoffs in the 16th place in the standings in Stefan Purcell and the driver who is not in Barrick Uphold. These bonus points matter. There's Purcell and the John Deere machine on the front straightaway. Having a pretty solid run is that of Purcell in 17th, and there's Uphold is a little bit ahead of him. So we can expect that position to switch if these drivers stay in the position that they are running now. But that's how tight it is with what will be a 6-race run to the playoff picture at the end of tonight's contest. So why do we believe that Taylor Butcher Benjamin needs to start pressing a little bit more to get up there and get some of those bonus points and those stage points? That's why, because things are that close. As you see here, Frank Flores getting up a little bit too high at the exit of turn number 4. Going to lose a spot here down on the entry to the corner. In a battle that is taking place outside the top 10. Maybe going to battle back comes Flores, as we've got great racing going on all throughout this field, as we are less than 10 laps away from the end of stage number 2. Bonus points on the line and a stage win on the line for Jack B. Ryan, who continues to navigate that lead of about a little over half a second, nearly 1 second now on Logan Hamilton, as this race continues on the main straightaway.
Yeah, this is kind of, you know, the back of the field back here. This is 16th through 19th back here, and I've been watching this happen on timing and scoring, but we've of course, you know, kept our tabs on the more front-running battles, you know, with the leaders and the top 5 going at it. And now I think, you know, especially talking about the bubble here with Stefan Purcell, Purcell. He's I mean, we've had a real opportunity to really take a look at all these drivers going at it. Ryder Schrauf, who's had a rough go the past few weeks, he's hanging here in the 17th position, going actually back to the 18th position because of the send from Purcell, and contact at the center corner. But I want to shout these guys out because they are racing hard.
And one driver you see back here is Grant Peterson, who got a top 10 position at the end of stage number 1, but the same could not be said here in stage 2. We're about 6 laps away, soon to be 5 away from the end of this stage, and Peterson finds himself mired back in, what is that, 19th position? I know he got some damage there on the second caution due to an incident. I guess it would be listed as the 3rd caution of the race, but surprised to see him back here, while Holden McGill and Jenks now start their battle for a top 5 position. This is for 4th on the main straightaway. Perhaps one of the best battles we have in the top 5, but McGill going full send on the top side. The points leader is trying to pick up more stage points here, but he's going to lose out the spots here to Brendan Jenks off of 2, who nearly clips the wall on exit.
Man, this run from Brendan Jenks, I don't know how much farther forward he can go up the running order with a few laps left in the stage, but up to 4th after starting last is insane to me. I mean, this is a track that is so tough to pass at too. So, I mean, that car looks clean. It's like he hasn't gotten into anybody. He's just had some raw pace to drive forward, and he's driven around Holden McGill. I mean, of all people, he's just gapping him.
Yeah, and McGill, of course, is our championship point leader, as now Ryan Dingler has a look down low to try to get up to the top 5 as the laps are clicking off. But for Brendan Jenks, he's somebody who, I mean, granted, my naked eyes have kind of scoured through the point standings here a number of times, and that is not a name that I see in the top 20 or if at all in the standings. This may be his first L-TAC start of the season. I'll try to get a little bit of additional clarification on that one, but he is certainly making a name for himself here in this L-TAC Cup Series, as he is up there mixing it up with some of the best in the series. And Jenks is someone who is, as we mentioned, scored in car 24, driving in car 3, which may infuriate some of the most passionate NASCAR fans we have who watch our coverage on Pit Stop TV. But he is en route to capturing some stage points. We've got about 2 laps to go before we see Jack B. Ryan seal things up here in stage 2.
Man, this drive from Jack B. Ryan, I mean, it's been It's been immaculate, man. I mean, look at the gap. It's up to 1.4 seconds on Logan Hamilton. He's just doing his thing. This 2 car has not been set in a spot wrong today. And, I mean, I know we're only on lap 70 of 152. There's still a lot of racing to go. But he is, like I said earlier, cool as a cucumber. And he's very much in control of this race and of his car and really of this field.
It appears as though that his ability to survive restarts is going to pay off in a big way here tonight. At the very least, it's going to pay off at the end of stage number 2. He won stage 1 earlier. He's going to do it in stage 2 as well. It's going to be Jack B. Ryan coming to the checkered flag, trying to become the first 3-time winner on the season. He wins stage number 2. The rest of the field will cycle their way through before we see the caution flag, and there it is. It's Jack B. Ryan, Logan Hamilton, Merrick Watchorn, your top 3. Brendan Jenks with a very impressive 4th. Holden McGill, your top 5.
Yeah, and 6, you have Ryan Dingler, you know, who stuck it out here. He's been impressing me a lot. He's shown the pace that he can keep that 8 car right up here and right in contention. Joseph, a great run forward all the way. All the way up to the 7th position. Colin Stone falls back to the 8th position. Brett Fisher holds on for a top 10. And Taylor Butcher Benjamin from the back of the field as well. He'll get himself a stage point.
Yeah, so that's how they came to the checkers. Butcher Benjamin was able to get up there into that 10th spot. And I know we weren't able to hear from Jack B. Ryan earlier. We may have a chance here perhaps after the pit stops to talk to Logan Hamilton, who came home 2nd. And I'm very interested to hear from Logan about how good of a short-run car he appears to have. We saw him kind of kick that thing out sideways a couple of times and put himself in position to get to the back bumper of Jack B. Ryan. And that may be all it takes, but pit stops were a big deal for Logan Hamilton last time through. Remember, he gained about 2 spots on the pit lane. If he could just gain 1, he may be leading us back down for green on the restart as we get set for these pit stops before we kick off our final stage of racing through the checkered flag, approaching the halfway point in this race.
Yeah, it looks like actually we're going to be able to, I guess, have the opportunity to do one or the other of the top 2 of this stage. That'll be interesting. Looks like I guess we'll take Jack since, you know, he's 1 to 2 stages. We didn't get to hear from him in the first stage. But pit stop's underway. There's a car down. That's Jenks and the race off pit lane. Look at how tight that is.
Yeah, we'll see how everybody ends up scored. It looks like it's going to be Jack B. Ryan, Logan Hamilton, Merrick Watchorn, Brendan Jenks, Ryan Dingler, your top 5s to come off the pit lane. And let's see if we do have a chance here to talk to Jack B. Ryan as he's going to catch up to the back end of the pace car. And we will pull him in here for a chance to talk to the driver who's captured both stage wins tonight. Jack B. Ryan, your 2 wins this season. Dover, 1 mile. Also, Gateway, 1.25 mile. What is it about these tracks that seem to suit your style as a racer as you've been dominant here so far tonight at New Hampshire?
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure. I've been trying to answer that question myself tonight. But I really like this package. I like having to use the brake because I feel like I can be consistent with it. And AOD provides me a fast race car every time.
Well, it appears that you got a really good car, especially on the long run. Unfortunately, we don't have too much time to talk to you. It looks like you're a half lap away from getting back to business. Best of luck here tonight. Could be the first driver to grab 3 wins this season. Go get him, buddy. Well, hopefully we'll talk to you tonight.
Thank you, man.
And that's Jack B. Ryan, the driver who, as we mentioned, been essentially dominant tonight after winning the pole by one of the narrowest of margins, has led all the laps up to this point, according to my unofficial marker. And he's going to be lining up alongside of Logan Hamilton, who I was hoping we'd be able to squeeze in a little bit of TV time with, but maybe we'll talk to Logan a little bit later on tonight as well. He's going to restart on the outside, and Merrick Watchorn is someone who we have to make sure that has a bit of aggression on his side here in order to keep pace with the front 2 ahead of him as we get set for this restart. Approaching halfway, we're back underway with L-TAC with Jack B. Ryan. Yeah, down for the restart.
A big bobble for Jack B. Ryan, side by side into turn number 3. Ryan with the inside, Hamilton up high. Here comes Brendan Jenks.
Jenks now trying to close up there. He's been the role of the spoiler so far. We got a caution flag and a crash in turn number 1. Is that Watchorn? It is. One of the top 3 drivers into the wall at turn 4.
Wow, wow, wow. This is huge. This is huge. We're going to get a replay here to see what happened with Eric Watchorn, but wow.
Watchorn, as we mentioned, it's contact from Joseph. Joseph, that spins the number 91 into the wall. Significant contact with the left front and then the left rear. Hats off to the number 33 car being able to get that car low down in time so he didn't spear the side of Watchorn, and Robert Pattengale, who got that car stopped before causing more damage. But here's a look at the restart, and as Emerson Arden, you mentioned, a little bit of a bobble there by Jack B. Ryan off the initial restart. This may be the 1 weak link that Ryan has to watch here throughout the duration of this race. You see Watchorn there, slides up, nearly got into Joseph, and by this point here, I don't know how he got enough of a run here off of turn number 2 to get up to the left rear quarter panel of Watchorn, but he did, and here's how.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that was intentional, but I'm not going to say after what happened in turns 1 and 2 that Joseph feels that bad about it either. Maybe he does, but that looks like an even exchange between the two that maybe went a little awry for the 91.
So we watched Joseph and Taylor Butcher Benjamin have to work their way through the field after some issues on pit lane in terms of penalties for Eric Watchorn, who's already been on the chip, for lack of a better term, here tonight as far as trying to do what it takes to get further forward. We'll see now what he can do after having a restart from the tail end of the pack, and there's the nudge that sent the number 91 spinning out of the third place position. Jack B. Ryan was able to fend off your runner-up for the time being up to the restart. And now he's going to have to do it all over again. And I said in the interview briefly there, Emerson, Jack B. Ryan appears to have a very good long-run race car, but these restarts are the chance for it to all come undone relatively quickly. I don't know what Logan Hamilton could do with clean air, but I think he's starting to sense a bit of urgency here as that of Hamilton. And he knows this is his chance to get the job done, and another restart is upcoming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to guess iRacing has done something to these caution periods, because these are quick yellows. Not really a whole lot of time for us to chit-chat, which is good. I mean, we get to the racing action much more quickly, but that also just, means there's less and less time to really think about what your move is going to be on this restart.
That's something we're going to have to keep in mind as we hit beyond the halfway point now of this race, with Jack B. Ryan leading us down for the restart. Hamilton's going to tuck right in line, and we're back underway.
Wow, Brendan Jenks was all over the back end of the 12 of Logan Hamilton. I don't know how they keep it all pointed in the right direction, but they do. Joseph trying to work his way forward now on Brendan Jenks.
Jenks trying to hold on to that podium spot that he's got in his grasp for the time being, with Joseph looking low. And I'm with you there, Emerson. I had a little bit of an ooh moment as Jenks nearly got into the backside of Hamilton and turned him around off of that restart. How about Jeremy Berger in the 97? He was the first car to spin out of the exit at turn number 2. Not only has he worked his way into the top 10, he's still climbing. Looking for more on the points leader, Holden McGill, as they come out of 4. And that's the driver who's currently center of your screen in that of Jeremy Berger. He's got Colin Stone just behind, but he has found something in that number 97 here tonight. Now following the tire tracks in the field, looking to find his way up to the top 10 as Dingler has a big slide.
Yeah, big moment there for Ryan Dingler, and Jeremy Berger is not going to take anything there in the turn 3. But again, I think this is the biggest example of this is a long race. Let it come back to you. Like I said, if something happens to you in stage 1, you can still get back into it. You have 2 predetermined cautions to use as crutches. Just use them and get back up there. And Jeremy Berger up to 7th. This is a huge run, a huge recovery drive from the 97, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, we talked a little bit leading into tonight's broadcast, the fact that Berger has had a very consistent season, 9th in the standings, 4 top 10s for the bumper-to-bumper team. And it seems as though the nights in which he's not swept up in an accident that puts him out of contention he has an opportunity to contend for a top 10 finish, and he's doing just that here tonight. Also want to mention that the grand scheme of things, we've only had 3 cautions due to incidents so far tonight. Granted, we are starting to enter, you see 6 cautions total. We started the race with a yellow flag to get the running order proper. We also had 2 stage breaks, but there's only been 3 cautions for crashes so far tonight. Jeremy Berger was one of them. We also mentioned the fact that earlier Grant Peterson was involved in an incident, and as you saw, Merrick Watchhorn is the latest victim of the Magic Mile as far as being caught up in contacts while racing for a top 5 spot. But Logan Hamilton is less than a car length off the back bumper of Jack B. Ryan. We mentioned how the faster or longer that these runs go, the quicker that Jack B. Ryan's car appears to be, but Hamilton's not letting him out of his sights just yet. While Joseph is working over Brendan Jenks for the 3rd spot, but here's the battle for the lead-off 4.
This is oh so tight. I think this is the biggest chance Logan Hamilton has had. He's sending it to the inside of Jack Ryan. He slides. He sends, and can he complete it? To the inside, comes back. Jack B. Ryan, and Ryan back to the point.
I have never in my life seen a slide job attempt at New Hampshire, but Hamilton tried to get the job done. As you can see, he overcooked the corner, and now you got Jack B. Ryan out to an over half-second lead. But that was a whale of an attempt by Hamilton. He's got to restack the deck and try again and chase Ryan back down. But how badly does Hamilton want to win? That's your visible evidence right there. He sent that thing in a 1. Even though it didn't stick, he'll live to fight another day.
Wow, I mean, you live and you learn. I think this is, Hamilton, trying it now. There's still just under half of the race to go. And so he can, really save that. Oh, contact behind. Joseph getting physical with Brendan Jenks.
And that's the 2nd time we've seen some paint rubbing off of that pit stop TV number 20 of Joseph. This time, though, it looks as though that Brendan Jenks is going to keep it pointed in the right direction and remain in the preferred line. Holden McGill saying which way he's going to go. I'm not quite sure if I want to be on the top side or bottom side. Ryan Dingler also trying to figure things out as well as he runs in 6th. But it's a great side-by-side battle for 3rd as they come out of turn 4. Joseph, car 20 inside. And Brendan Jenks, as we mentioned, running that number 3 scored car 24 outside as they come down to turn 1. Jenks is hanging on for now.
A brilliant drive from Brendan Jenks, and he's keeping the 2 leaders inside as well. Logan Hamilton driving back up to Jack Ryan. I think this could be, again, Ryan saving his stuff, but still Hamilton, from the send he had on Ryan to falling all the way back to the clutches of the cars behind. He's driven away from the cars behind and driving back forward to the 2.
So right now, Logan Hamilton is holding down the 2nd spot and closing in on the race leader and Jack B. Ryan, while the battle for 3rd continues to rage intently. Joseph, Brendan Jenks putting on a clinic as to what it takes to run side by side at New Hampshire, a racetrack that many say cannot be done. They think it's too enticing to slide up into the side of your competition, and right now Joseph has not gone over that razor-thin edge as far as creating contact there into the left rear quarter panel of Jenks' car, and now things will settle down for the time being with Holden McGill and Ryan Dingler rounding out this 4-car train as Jenks overcooks turn 1.
Man, oh man, I don't know what iRacing has done, but New Hampshire is a spectacle. It absolutely has been a blast. I don't know what it was last season. Granted, there was a lot of self-spinners as well last season that really hindered the pace and the flow of the race, but I just can't remember these drivers being able to duke it out double wide at New Hampshire.
And I will admit, Emerson, that watching practice had me a little bit concerned that tonight may be one of those 24-hour of New Hampshire events, seeing how some of these drivers were finding their limit. I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do in the sim, and that's find the edge, find the spot in which they know is too much. But as we're coming up on about 61 laps to go here, I will say that for New Hampshire standards, not for L-TAC standards, for New Hampshire standards, that these drivers have outperformed my expectations, and perhaps the expectations of viewers as well, by putting on a very clean and competitive event at this point in the race. Granted, we got a long way to go, and things are only going to ramp up and get more physical as we wind down towards pay dirt time. But Joseph is starting to set it back in there on Jenks. This battle for third is going to continue, and the driver who's battling back from the pit lane penalty is going to try to slide his way to third. Not quite yet. They're door-to-door at the line.
Yeah, again, I thought this was going to be a single file affair and really waiting for drivers to make mistakes. This has been an absolute blast, and drivers really being, enticed to send it in there and make these overtakes. It definitely is something. Joseph, I mean, what a job he's doing. He's being so aggressive on the inside, but yet not really ever making contact with that 24. He is doing everything right, battling side by side, and likewise to Brendan Jinx, giving all the room he needs, but while still maintaining the competitive drive in that 24.
And for Jenks, somebody who, again, I looked across all of the 53 drivers that have partaken in L-TAC competition this season, and I do not see Brendan Jenks' name in the point standing running order. He has a different agenda. Win. That's all that Brendan Jenks cares about. Joseph, the runner-up in the standings, who gets really loose out of 4 that time, his agenda is a little bit more complex. Now, granted, I don't think that he's going to fall out of championship or playoff contention with a misstep here and some contact, but the motivation to find victory lane after running so strong this season with 7 top 10 finishes so far, 4 top 5s, looking for his 5th of the season, but not being able to find victory lane, being the driver who's highest in points, who has yet to win on the L-TAC campaign, that's got to be eating away at him, considering the fact that he has done everything to partake in these events on more than one occasion. He's made all the starts so far, and he's got a driver who's serving as a bit of an outlier as his bugaboo just ahead of him here in what continues to be the best race on track for third on back.
Absolutely. I was going to say, what doesn't help Joseph's cause, as that driver highest in points without a win, is a new fast driver entering into the mix. That could be a potential driver taking away some chances at victory. So, I mean, Joseph, man, don't get me wrong, he is here, and he's all here to win. I mean, everybody's here to win. It's a race, and these drivers are in it to race. But Joseph has really got his work cut out for him if he's really going to get up there and get one of these races done this season. And that's saying a lot, because he is a fast driver and in the top 5 a lot.
And when we're talking about agendas, you also have to look at the driver who is just behind this battle, and Holden McGill, who we were talking earlier with Nolan, who heads up one of the race directing positions with L-TAC for these events, and he does an amazing job with the fact that he passes along stage result wins. Oh, McGill there, it's way loose into turn 1, almost lost the back end of the car. But as we were mentioning in our discussion with Nolan earlier, I think we're all mutually surprised that in as competitive of a season where we've had 9 different winners in 11 races, that Holden McGill has been able to hold on to the points lead throughout the majority of the season. And that comes after being swept up in a last lap contact and crash at Pocono 1 week ago. But this is why he's able to put together fast lap times. Regardless of where he qualifies, he finds his way towards the front of the field, ends up running up towards the top 5, and gets the job done. He finds himself in contention here. Granted, we're coming up on about the final third of this race, as it looks as though Jack B. Ryan is now under fire from Hamilton, who peeks inside. We got a battle for the lead coming up here to kick off lap 100 of 152 from Loudon.
Yeah, I think Logan Hamilton, with this being, the 80 laps there, 82 lap stage, or what it is, he's kind of gone into the mindset this is a longer type of sprint race, if you will, than the 35 lappers. Maybe he's used up his stuff a lot more in the 35 lappers, knowing he was going to get a caution if he used the stuff up too much. I think this is Hamilton not really, doing those huge stunts. He had one that, almost worked, and then Ryan was able to get right back under him. But Logan Hamilton has not been as aggressive this run, and look, he's still hanging with Jack Ryan. What are we, 20, nearly 25 laps into this part of stage 3?
And this is where I will come out and admit that I was wrong. I thought that Jack B. Ryan had one of the best long-run cars pretty much on the racetrack here tonight. Logan Hamilton, though, is proving me to not know anything that I'm talking about because he's right there with them as they approach the exit of turn number 4. And I thought that as the run progressed that Hamilton was going to start to lose some of that ground, but despite that slide job attempt and whatever damage it may have done to those front and rear tires, Hamilton's keeping pace with Jack B. Ryan at the head of the pack, and they've gapped Brendan Jenks and Joseph in that battle for third by about 2 seconds at the end of 3. And these two trying to settle it amongst themselves, but we got a long way to go as we approach the final 50 laps of this race, this time by.
Yeah, I don't want to say that that you're wrong. I think Logan Hamilton has really, turned it up here because he was struggling on those longer runs in the first 2 stages. So he's either changed something, which I think he's toned down the aggression, considering this is, a 40 lap longer stage than the other two, or 45 laps longer than the other 2 stages. And I think he's just seeing that it's finally paying off to not go 100% the whole time. Also, we don't know how hard Jack B. Ryan is pushing. Maybe he is just still as cool as a cucumber and relaxing, and maybe he'll pull away longer. Who knows? We still have a lot of laps to play this out. We're coming up to, what is this? This is about 30 laps since the stage caution. Then we had another caution afterwards, so about 25 laps under green flag racing.
Yeah, and I appreciate the defense there, Emerson. I could use it because I just kept touting the fact that I thought Ryan was going to just extend the lead as we got further into this run. But let's also hit on the fact that we've got 20 cars all the way back to Mr. Pattengale in 20th spot on the lead lap. And as we mentioned, 6 cautions tonight. The first one was to repair a bit of a scoring error and kick things off as we are on board now with Pattengale in turn number 3. 6 cautions for 21 laps. Keep in mind, 2 of those were for the stage breaks, one of which was for the opening laps in order to make sure that we got this thing off the ground on fair footing for everybody. Only 3 incidents here so far tonight, and one of them included Merrick Watchhorn, who is now back up to 8th. We've seen a lot of drivers battle back from adversity, 2 of which are in the top 10 in Watchhorn and Berger. They find themselves now in top 10 points-paying contention towards the end of this race as we look at Watchhorn navigating his way here through turns 1 and 2. But this has been an exceptionally clean event, not for the L-TAC Cup Series. Not in any way are we saying that we expected less from these drivers. It's this track. It's tough. And we mentioned in the intro, it's a 1-mile oval that races like a short track. There's reason for that. It's very hard to pass, very hard to get up to the field, and these drivers are proving that it is in fact possible to race competitively on this 1-mile oval, put on a good show, and also keep the competition level on par for the course for the L-TAC season. So hats off to this entire group of drivers and competitors, because between the comers and goers we've seen through the differing track temperatures, we've seen the track temperature, Emerson, dip, I believe, by about 13 degrees when we started this race. I mean, these guys got their hands full, and they're still putting on a great race.
Absolutely. The track is changing, and the wind's picked up 3 miles per hour as well. Now, it's not going to have that great of an effect on the cars, but it can have a little bit to the way these cars are handling, especially, on corner entry, which Merrick Watchhorn has definitely felt. But, yeah, it has been a 13-degree drop in Fahrenheit on the track, and the air temps dropped 1 degree. But the cloud cover is kind of, I guess, receded today. The sun has come out here in virtual Loudon, New Hampshire for this final 50 or final 40. I'm trying to do quick math. Final 44 laps. And I don't know if the track time's going to heat right back up because of the time of day, but we'll see. Because I guess iRacing still lists this weather type as cloudy, so maybe it won't. But again, this track can undergo another set of changes as Jack Ryan has nearly opened up a second advantage. Actually goes up to 0.8 of a second.
So maybe, in fact, I do know what I'm talking about as we enter the long run portion of this event with Jack B. Ryan starting to stretch his legs a little bit more here over your runner-up, and starting to come up here on the backside of Mr. Pattengale, who's going to give way. And I'll tell you, we saw Pattengale do so much to try to avoid any type of incident. And Robert is an incredible competitor, and he does so much for this series, so much for the sim. and so much for Pit Stop TV. I mean, he does an incredible job, and as he runs wide to allow the front runners to go by, Emerson, what do you say that we offer up this opportunity here to thank some of our partners here on the platform who allow all of us the chance to kind of talk about some of these races here all throughout the week? And we'll start with our friends at Tucson Sound Art. Remember, that is your picture and your music. Our broadcast tonight is brought to you by our friends at Tucson Sound Art. If you want to check out their products and services they have available, make sure you use the promo code PitStopTV, all one word, at checkout to save 10% off your wall-mounted sound art device today. We're also partnered with our friends at Race Pace. It's one of our newest partners here on the platform. Andrew Cardinale IV, actually, I remember hearing on one of his most recent broadcasts that he has exercised the products that and services that Race Pace has to offer, and he exercised them to success. You can pick up the pace with Race Pace, a community-driven setup, shop, and driver development program. Again, that is our friends at Race Pace Setups. And we also have our friends at Permanent Makeup in Maine. You deserve the best care that money can buy. Visit their website at permanentmakeupinmaine.com to learn more, as pit stops are underway for some of the front runners. And lastly, of course, Whiplash Media, the official graphic and camera provider of Pit Stop TV. As you can see, some of the drivers who are at the bottom portion of the top 10, Merrick Watchhorn, Brett Fisher, Jeremy Berger, and more on the pit lane for green flag pit stops here as we enter the final 40 laps of this race. And this is a very tricky pit road, Emerson, to get on here. These drivers don't often practice green flag pit entry, but they're going to have to here. And the key thing is going to be not speeding.
Oh my goodness, yes. This pit entry, it's deceiving because you have that one line that's kind of way out before you even get to pit speed, and either you slow down too much or you just bypass it, not even thinking about it. An important point here is Logan Hamilton has come into pit lane and he's already down and away while Jack Ryan is still out there. So Jack Ryan, instead of coming in the next lap, looks like he's just going to run it out of fuel and try to see what kind of an extension this can be. But Hamilton could have just pulled a major undercut. And real quick to your point about race pace, yes, Andrew Cardinale IV and his Whiplash Racing number 22 team, they won the Creventek Endurance Series race, the 12 Hours of Spa this past weekend. This past weekend in the Lamborghini. So that was that set up by Race Pace. So that was a great showing and a great use of the Race Pace setups.
Yeah, thank goodness my tenure on the sim remains absent, only due to the fact some life changes, because I would have been really good friends with the tire barrier throughout that event. As we watch Jack B. Ryan come down for service, and I think that's reactionary to that of watching Logan Hamilton come down for stops. And let's see how this pans out. Hamilton now trapped in behind a lap car as he comes out of 4 with Jack B. Ryan on the pit lane. Will that one lap of fresh rubber make a difference? It looks like it's going to, as Jack B. Ryan comes off the pit lane here, and Logan Hamilton is going to make the pass for the lead in 1 and 2, while Jack B. Ryan's trying to get back up to speed at the exit of the pit lane. Logan Hamilton, once things cycle through, he scored 7th for the time being, but that's a huge pass for that of Hamilton, with now Grant Peterson scored as the leader. But if things stay green and we cycle through, it could be Hamilton leading this race.
What a wonderful job. What a wonderful strategy call from Logan Hamilton. Now he's going to be on the other end. Jack B. Ryan is going to be put into a position he has been put into today, and that is be on the aggressive and try to catch up and try to pass Logan Hamilton. It's going to be interesting to see, as Jack Ryan even practiced overtaking the way he's been out here today.
You bring up a really good point as we watch Grant Peterson now come to the line. This should cycle Logan Hamilton to the lead, and it does, with Jack B. Ryan back. We'll wait for our timing and scoring ticker to update accordingly. Joseph running the fastest lap of the race so far here tonight in about 4th. But it looks as though that the gap is going to stabilize. So wait till they get back to the start-finish line. Probably going to be about 2 seconds the difference between that of Logan Hamilton and that of Jack B. Ryan by the time they get back to the line. And Ryan is trying to knife his way through traffic with an abrupt move here. And there you go, about 1.9 seconds at the line at the end of the pit stop. So that move by Hamilton to come out of the pit lane in the fashion in which he did, that could turn out to be a race-winning move if things stay green.
Absolutely. I got to give you major props on that eyeballing of the distance as well. That was near perfect. I had it on my timing and scoring. I was waiting for it to see if it would stay like that at the start finish. And yeah, sure enough, it was 1.9. But speaking of that, it was 1.9 last lap. It's down to 1.6. Jack B. Ryan is on it. But is he going to be, I guess, coaxed into running his stuff a little too hard and maybe Hamilton's able to save?
Yeah, and one of the negative effects of the undercut to our viewers is the fact that you have one more lap on your tires, and odds are if you're pulling that strategy, that one lap is super aggressive. You want to make sure that you are able to benefit to the most maximum capacity allowed on that one flyer that you're giving yourself, and the return belongs to the drivers chasing you who pit later. That means their rubber or their tires are a little bit more healthier than you. And for Hamilton, that gap is closing in a hurry. But Emerson, you brought up a great point. For many of the race fans who may have watched the Indianapolis testing that took place over the last 2 days, they talk about the difference between how your car handles by itself and in traffic. I don't think we've seen Jack B. Ryan in traffic pretty much all day long. He finds himself behind the 8-ball for just the first time today. It comes with about 30 to go next time by. Doesn't appear to be slowing him down, though. He's charging quickly on the backstretch.
Absolutely. The car that Jack B. Ryan has spent the most time behind today has been the pace car. And so Logan Hamilton being a different looking pace car to Jack B. Ryan, he might want to overtake this one. But coming to 30 laps to go, and Logan Hamilton is a relative sitting duck. 0.6 of a second now, the gap between himself and Jack B. Ryan. I also want to give major props to this series. We've already have a few times, but again, only 6 cautions so far in this race, as opposed to last season's race that I was on the call with Trey Shuttlesworth last season, L-TAC New Hampshire. They let's just say they did not get green flag pit stops, and so this is huge. I was expecting a better race than last season for sure, because of the quality of racing. This season has dramatically improved since the beginning of the season. As a huge shout out to the L-TAC admin for really cleaning up this series and making it about, long run racing. I loved it, and I've been, a huge supporter of the admins in this L-TAC Cup Series, and they've done a great job making it better and better. But I was not expecting green flag pit stops, so I am thoroughly surprised in a good way, because this is great. I'm loving letting the strategy play out, because look at what we get to talk about.
And I'm right there with you, Emerson, as we watch Jack B. Ryan now really starting to close up on Logan Hamilton for the race lead. But as we look at the L-TAC schedule heading into the playoffs, we have Texas 1 week from tonight, with Jack B. Ryan starting to close in on Hamilton for the lead. The All-Star race is going to be on the Bristol Dirt Track in a couple of weeks, and then it's Charlotte Roval, Auto Club, Indianapolis, Phoenix, and the Charlotte Oval left to decide a champion. And if these last few races are any indication of what that's going to be like, I don't know how you don't block out your Friday nights to spend it with us on Pit Stop TV and watch how the rest of the season pans out as we approach playoff time, with the top 16 drivers and points are going to be blocked in for a chance at a championship. And even that playoff schedule is immaculate. They kick things off at Watkins Glen. That's amazing. It's a dream come true for a racing purist who wants it to be decided by that of driver talent. They throw the wild card of Talladega in there. You also have North Wilkesboro, Twin Ring Motegi, the Oval, that has only hosted a NASCAR Stock Car Series event back in the late 1990s. They then separate down to the top 10, Rockingham, Bristol, Las Vegas, Homestead, and the final 6 will battle for a championship at Daytona, Iowa, and they'll wrap things up at Darlington. I can't think of a better way to size up a Stock Car Series or a Stock Car Series on the platform than what L-TAC does here. And I think that tonight's race is just a bit of a peek behind the blinders is how we expect that all to pan out, with Logan Hamilton trying to hang on for his first win of the season, while Jack B. Ryan is looking for his third.
Absolutely. I mean, a great run by both of these drivers, really, because Jack Ryan, he's dominating. And Logan Hamilton, he's been right there. And I'm really curious to see if the history they have a couple weeks ago is going to boil over to today. I hope not. I hope it's, a clean and, hard-fought race to the end. But we'll see what happens. Also, when you read out that schedule, and I've heard it a few times already this season, and I keep hearing Twin Ring Motegi. I absolutely love that facility, the road course and the oval there. I again, major props to this series for going to that level of, finding an oval track that, NASCAR has ran, but hasn't ran in so long, and they only ran there, for an exhibition race. Like, that blows my mind that a league actually considered that track to be on a schedule, and it's made it on there. So I am very, very happy with that track selection. I love the entire facility there. Here comes to the inside, Jack Ryan, but around the outside, Logan Hamilton.
Yeah, wow, did not see Jack B. Ryan being able to draw up alongside there. These drivers have a 4-second advantage over the rest of the pack, and there's Hamilton flaring that right rear quarter panel out into the wind that time at the entrance to 3. Ryan's on the back bumper. This is the battle for the lead in New Hampshire for the L-TAC Cup Series in their 12th race of 2021. Jack B. Ryan trying to get back to the point where he's dominated tonight. Logan Hamilton wants to taste victory. This is the battle for the lead off too as we approach the final 21 laps of this race.
How aggressive is Jack Ryan gonna be? How is his car handling? Is he even used to the dirty air that the 12 car is providing to the front of the 2 car? I don't know, but Jack B. Ryan, he's driven his way up to Logan Hamilton, but driving up here and passing is a whole different ball game, because we've already seen one attempt from Jack Ryan to the inside. This time he's going to the outside. He's going to try to get the run and the longer straightaway here down the back. Will he send it into 3? He's not close enough, I don't think.
Jack B. Ryan trying to work the bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4. They're going to be coming up here to 20 laps to go. He's trying to draw even with the quarter panel as he comes out of turn number 4, but Hamilton slams the door shut at the line. He's got a hold. Oh, they almost touch in 1. Hamilton way up the racetrack as Jack B. Ryan gets back to the power. They're side by side for the lead.
I don't think Hamilton takes too kindly to that. I don't know if they actually did make contact, but Hamilton may feel he was contacted into 1. He's going to give him the nudge into 3, and we're back at the same. Oh, the 2 into the wall. More contact.
Big side-by-side contact, and Jack B. Ryan, after bouncing off the side of Logan Hamilton, loses precious ground to the race leader, and Hamilton holds on to the top spot. Wow, eye for an eye it appears in this battle for the race lead, and we may not be done yet. Jack B. Ryan has been a tick quicker than that of Hamilton all night long. Does he have enough time to run and hide?
For the sake of the amazing battle we've seen thus far, I hope Jack Ryan's car is not damaged so we can continue to see a battle like that. But wow, I don't think this is trickling over from Kansas, but at the same time I think it could be, because Hamilton was like, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, or I'm sorry, fool me, I'm messing it up. But anyway, Logan Hamilton was not happy with potentially being contacted there into turn 1 by Jack B. Ryan. I think it was netcode in Jack Ryan's defense, but I don't think Hamilton cares.
Netcode has got to be the greatest scapegoat that anyone could ever use as far as defining accidental contact, and I would lean on it too if I was these two. I mean, you guys are pushing for the win, and everybody's pretty much just vying for the same opportunity to taste victory. This reminds me so much of a cup race that happened here over the last couple of years in a battle between Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. It's the same exact thing, just trading jarbs back and forth, lap after lap. New Hampshire, the Magic Mile, has a pretty much prestigious reputation of producing magical finishes and moments like that. And boy, we may not be done yet, because here comes Jack B. Ryan closing quickly on Hamilton for the race lead. If I'm Brendan Jenks, just sit tight, buddy, because this one may come right into your lap here if these guys keep up the bumper tag.
My goodness, it might just do that, like you said, and that battle's gotten very tight. Joseph is getting up to the back end of the 24 as they continue to duke it out, but we'll keep our eyes on the battle for the lead. Obviously, this bears a little more weight in the battle for third right now, but the battle for third could be just as important. And I gotta say, major props to the discipline Jack B. Ryan has shown here. Even getting booted into the wall a second back, he has kept his composure and is driven back up to Logan Hamilton. Was that caution?
Wow, I was just about to say, for my betting friends watching at home, would you have placed your money on the third stage going caution-free? My answer would have been no, but it appears a problem for that of Sean Deal is going to slow this field and set up an absolute shootout for what's probably going to be, if we're judging by the way in which iRacing has been coordinating caution flags here tonight, a 10-lap shootout to the finish between two drivers who've gotten into each other already on more than one occasion. Here's Sean Deal entering turn one. A car spun in front of him. We'll try to see who that may have been.
Oh.
Was that Brendan Jenks, the third place runner? I believe it was.
Oh, man. We're going to get another look at it, but I believe it was.
So Brendan Jenks, who we were kind of joking, Emerson and I were, about the fact that if things got a little bit too rough at the front, that he may be able to inherit a victory here tonight. But the New England driver in the Chevy is battling here heavily with that of Joseph. And we talked earlier, remember, Joseph got into Merrick Watchhorn while battling for position. And unfortunately, that's the same song and dance that we see here. What a job by Jenks to slide that thing sideways throughout the duration of turn one. Never lost a spot, but the slide was scary enough to trick the system into drawing the yellow, and that's going to create a pretty crazy set of circumstances here for this shootout to the finish. And we got pit stops underway. Everybody's on the pit lane.
The race off pit road, it's Logan Hamilton over Jack B. Ryan, but Kevin Franks has stayed out. I don't know if he's going to come back down pit lane or anything like that, but Kevin Franks, at the moment, has scored as the race leader. He might have taken the lucky dog vote. That could have been it. Logan Hamilton, though, wins the race off pit road over Jack B. Ryan.
And now as they blend up on the back straightaway, we see Jack B. Ryan inheriting the position over that of Hamilton. So we'll wait for official word. Granted that Jack B. Ryan does in fact have that #1 pit stall, so he could have inched out ahead of Hamilton, who's had amazing pit stops all night long. There's what we wanted to see, though. Franks is going to stop this time through, and it looks as though it's going to be Jack B. Ryan back out in the P1. Hamilton second. Ryan Dingler with what may be the stop of the night, moving up to third. Joseph fourth. And keep in mind that we've got Brendan Jenks, who just got turned sideways by Joseph, going to restart in fifth as we get set for what's going to be probably a 10-lap sprint to the checkered flag.
I'm going to take one more quick look at this to the line. Oh, man, I don't know.
It was very close for sure. So we'll see there. And also, sometimes they go by the first line at the end of the pit boxes. Oftentimes, we see them go towards the second line where the green cone is located. So that could also be playing a bit of a role in how this lineup gets reset. But there will be a couple of wave arounds, so we'll wait for them to clear before we get the one-to-go signal and double up here. I think we're going to have a 10-lap sprint to the finish, but boy, Emerson, I'm psyched for this. I'm not going to lie. I've been calling races for a long time, not always on a sim. I think I've only been doing this for about 6 months or so. But, I mean, from short tracks to some modified action to some open wheel racing, the drama, though, that is built up here between the fact that we've seen the top two hit each other on more than one occasion. We've seen fourth and fifth hit each other on more than one occasion. Half a lap away from green here. How pumped are you for this finish?
Man, I don't know. I'm pretty pumped. I don't know who. Maybe Ryan Dingler might be more pumped because he is kind of. Maybe he's not because he's also in the middle of everything right now. But man, oh man, whoever's in third might have the best shot at winning this because I don't know how Jack B. Ryan and Logan Hamilton are going to fare these final 10 laps. We'll see, though. We'll see.
Well, here we go. How about a 10? Here we go for the restart. Jack B. Ryan, Logan Hamilton battling for the lead in 1 and 2. Joseph and Ryan Dingler battling for third spot, but it's Jack B. Ryan clear out in front with the race lead.
Let's see how aggressive Logan Hamilton's going to be. I don't think he was ready to be back in second, though he's been in second a lot. He's learned a lot behind Jack B. Ryan. What will he be able to use from the past 140 laps?
One lap clear after the restart, and Jack B. Ryan with about the biggest lead he's had in the last 20 laps or so after Logan Hamilton. Oh, trouble! That's Dingler spinning and hard into the wall with the left side at the exit of turn number 2. No caution, and now the caution flag will fly.
Kevin Frank's on the pit lane as the caution comes out. So, not sure what all that's about, but wow, Ryan Dingler was set up for a great run. That one hurts.
Ryan Dingler, who is somebody that we wanted to highlight as 25th in the point standings, only made 5 starts this season. He has finished in the top 10 in the majority of those starts, was running in the top 5 position here today, and coming off turn 2, just we talked about all throughout the night, Emerson. Corner exit, caught him off guard, and Dingler went sideways and bang, right into the inside wall with the left side as they came out of turn number 2 to slow the field yet again.
That's such a tough corner exit right there off of turn number 2. And, I mean, you can't really fault them for, for making a mistake there. It's such a flat, bumpy exit. But at the same time, 10 laps to go, you're not going to take it as easy as you were taking it before in this race. And I think maybe pushing hard, towards the end of the race, you're running up front, more incentivized to try to stay with the driver up ahead of you, trying to maximize that exit. I think that might have caught Ryan Dingler out here, but we're going to ride on board with this replay.
Trying to get back to the power to get up alongside of Joseph off turn 2, and there she goes on corner exit. When you're pointed towards the RV parking lot at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, it's never a good sign, and although we got it right, it looked as though, from that perspective, the contact to the left side did not appear that significant. But from the further distance TV cam that we had pointed at the number 8 car, it looked as though that damage may have been enough to upset the apple cart for the remainder of his race, and he'll come down for some damage and repairs. But that means we're going to have a shootout here with less than 10 to go. Now, what I've noticed, Emerson, on the last couple of restarts, it looks as though Logan Hamilton's agenda has been get in line behind Jack B. Ryan. Is that going to be the game plan, you think, for the remainder of this restart, or do you think it's worth the risk to try to get up alongside and see if you can make the outside lane work?
So I think there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, you have to, if you're restarting second, you obviously want to stay with the leader. But if you stay with the leader side by side in 1 and 2, and maybe you miss your corner by just half a lane, or miss something by just a little bit, now you're side by side with third place and Jack B. Ryan driving off. So, to counter that, you give up any chance of fighting Jack B. Ryan into the corner to solidify you're still in second and have to go maybe into 3 and 4 the next lap. I don't know. This is where, the mind games happen on these restarts.
And that's something we're going to have to look for here as far as mind games, confidence. And remember, these drivers, they keep a bit of a registry in their mind as to who got into them at what point in this race, who do they think they owe one to. And I think there's a little bit of bumper tag that took place between the top 2. There's a little bit of bumper tag that took place between row 2. And Taylor Butcher Benjamin sitting there grinning from ear to ear in 5th, saying, go ahead, guys, go on out there and kill each other, because I want to grab my first win this season. He doesn't care. We'll see how it all pans out. And looks as though the lights are going to go out here on the pace car, and we're going to be 1 lap away from getting this thing restarted. So here's the storyline. Jack B. Ryan, Logan Hamilton, your top 2. We're going to restart here as we get set to come down on lap number 149. So we'll have about 3 laps to go, about 4 to go when they hit the line next time through, as this race will come to the checkers at the conclusion of lap 152, with Jack B. Ryan trying to sweep the stages, Logan Hamilton, Joseph, and Brendan Jenks. As a matter of fact, 4 of the top 5 has yet to visit victory lane this season. The only driver who has is your leader, Jack B. Ryan. He's done it twice at both Gateway and Dover, looking to find more magic on the Magic Mile, a track that he has been so good on throughout 2021. Will we have our 10th different winner, or will Jack B. Ryan grab his 3rd checkered flag of the season? Here comes a shootout for the L-TAC Cup Series at New Hampshire. We're back underway. Hamilton might have cut him a break there. I think he allowed Ryan a chance to overcook the corner, and that's what happened with him trying to get back down to the inside. Heartbreaker, though, for Brendan Jenks, who after pounding the wall in the exit at turn number 2, has fallen out of perhaps a top 10 position. He now runs 10th for the time being. Meanwhile, Jack B. Ryan trying to make his way back around for what will be the final 2 laps in New Hampshire to grab his 3rd win of the season. Logan Hamilton's going to have to reach way down deep into the barrel to find some magic to get up there and around Jack B. Ryan for the finish. 2 laps to go.
Look at that. Fastest lap of the day for Jack B. Ryan, but he's lagging a little bit. He's got to stay in the session here. A lap and a half to go. 0.4 of a second advantage over Logan Hamilton. This might have been the best restart of the day for Jack B. Ryan.
It looked as though Logan Hamilton was going to have the edge, but Jack B. Ryan beat him down into turn number 3. Here they come to the white flag. Jack B. Ryan 1 lap away from his 3rd win of the season here at New Hampshire, with Hamilton trying to close.
One last hoorah down into turn number 3. If he can get close enough, 0.3 of a second at the center of the corner, trying to get the power down. He's going to there's probably not any chance now into turns 3 and 4. He's going to send it, though, to no avail.
Jack B. Ryan is going to grab his 3rd win of the season while the battle for 2nd rages to the line. It's Jack B. Ryan sweeping the stages at the Magic Mile. Logan Hamilton 2nd, Joseph 3rd, Merrick Watchorn 4th, and the points leader Holden McGill with another amazing night as we have retaliation at the checkered flag with a major crash and Watchorn taking out Joseph after the finish line.
Well, I don't know. Oh, he's chasing him. This is not good. Let's see how Jack B. Ryan's doing. We'll get some replays of that maybe before we go to break here. But what a wonderful job from Jack B. Ryan today and trying to light him up on a front straightaway. It's a little narrow down there. A little narrow. There he goes.
So Jack B. Ryan celebrating his 3rd win of the season. As we said in the intro, we thought maybe we would have 10 winners in 12 races as he cracks the back there on the burnout while celebrating for the 3rd time this season, but that was not the case. Jack B. Ryan is going to allow one of the existing winners on the season to celebrate here at New Hampshire. And again, these tracks seem to suit his style. And remember, he's been in contention for many race wins so far this season, but he is starting to put himself up there as a potential favorite when we come down for the playoffs after fending off Logan Hamilton to the checkered flag and finish. We're going to step aside momentarily, but we're going to have all of our front-running finishers on the other side getting ready to hear how their night unfolded from New Hampshire. You're watching the L-TAC Cup Series on Pit Stop TV. We'll be right back after these messages with our winner and more from the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of 2 products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Welcome back to the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We just wrapped up round number 12 in the 2021 L-TAC Cup Series as we inch closer to playoff time. 6 races to go now that this race is in the rearview mirror. Myself, Emerson Arden, Corey Rexford on the call with you here tonight, and what a race it was, as I believe this event exceeded all expectations, but it was a familiar name finding victory lane for the 3rd time this season. It is a pleasure now to welcome into the broadcast booth the driver who captured victory on a racetrack in which I believe he's starting to garner a lot of success considering the nature of all the tracks he's won this season. We mentioned earlier, Gateway, Dover, now New Hampshire. There is something about these mile or mile and a quarter tracks, regardless of the banking, that suits Jack B. Ryan's style, and he is now with us to celebrate his 3rd win of the season. Jack B. Ryan, you swept all the stages after setting the quick time. Is it possible for you to have a better night than what you did tonight?
Well, first off, I just want to thank all my friends and family watching. It really means a lot. And I'd like to thank AOD Racing for giving me such a fast car and all my teammates for their support. It really means a lot. And it was a great race, yeah. It was a great night for me and AOD, and I really appreciate all AOD has done to put me in this position.
Well, and granted, you've got a lot of partners, but Jack, at the end of the day, you got the job done, man. I mean, I think all of us were approaching this as perhaps a crazy short track atmosphere type of night, and you just had what it took to get the job done there at the end, including after a little bit of bumper tag between you and Logan Hamilton. I mean, was that like fisticuff style of racing, or is that just what this track and this package and this series is kind of used to producing for us there at the end?
I think it's a bit of both. At first, I thought we were racing clean, and I guess I net-coded him in the corner when he came down to block me, and he took that the wrong way and then just kind of drove me into the corner. But I was able to come back from it and win. Just want to thank everyone for that win.
Now, when we look at your resume coming into tonight, I mean, you've put together some incredible races so far this season, obviously already up there in playoff contention by virtue of your 2 wins, but you did miss 2 races. But out of your now 10 starts and 3 wins, that's a 33% winning percentage so far this season. There are a number of races that you were up there contending for victories that You got taken out late. You got caught up in an incident. Wasn't your doing. I mean, in your words, how is the season panning out for you? And is your confidence pretty high as we're now inching closer to playoff time?
It all really depends on the track. It's kind of like a roller coaster for me. If it's a short track, I feel pretty confident. But if it's at a mile and a half or super speedway, I mean, anything can happen, right? So just kind of got to be at the right place at the right time at those. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the playoffs, and I'm really excited to see what this season holds.
Coming into tonight, you were 8th in points. This win's probably going to pole vault you a little bit higher up in the standings, but the schedule takes a massive shift going from this point forward. Texas, the All-Star race on the Bristol Dirt, of course, non-points event there. Charlotte Roval, Auto Club, Indy, Phoenix, Charlotte Oval. A lot of the tracks in which have not been as kind to you, but do you think you have everything in place in order to try to keep this momentum rolling throughout, this duration of events that lead us to the playoffs?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think just putting the practice really helps, and especially with mile halves. Like I said, just staying clean. That's the name of the game at those. And if we are able to do that, we will have success.
Well, Jack, first off, thanks for making it very entertaining for us, because it looked as though you were going to stink up the show there all the way throughout. That car was so dominant tonight. But also, I know you thanked a lot of the people who make this possible for you, but is there anybody else who you have to kind of shout out kudos for in order for you to grab your 3rd win of the season? You're now the win leader on the season so far for L-TAC, and I'm sure you're going to try to do everything you can to keep that up throughout the end of the season. But who makes this possible for you after you've been off to an incredible start so far in 2021?
Well, tonight I want to thank my little brother, Ben, for staying up past his bedtime and watching me get a win, because he usually has to go to sleep before the races get over, so he gets up in the morning and watches them with me. So big thank you to him and all my family and friends watching.
Well, thank you for putting on an incredible performance here tonight, and ended up sweeping the night so far and leading the most laps, and just making it really interesting there at the end. Jack B. Ryan, congratulations on win number 3 in 2021, and best of luck throughout the rest of the L-TAC Cup Series season.
Thank you, man. Thank you for broadcasting this. I'll see you guys.
We appreciate that very much. Jack B. Ryan, the driver who now has 3 wins on the season, the most of anybody else so far in 2021. And I'm going to turn it now over to Emerson Arden, who is going to be with our runner-up in Logan Hamilton, who had a great night here so far. The driver was 3rd in points, came up just shy of victory, but was right there and contending all the way through. Emerson, it's all yours.
Right on, and standing by with 2nd place finisher Logan Hamilton. A great car today. There was definitely some points where this 12 car looked like it had some speed, maybe even a little faster than Jack B. Ryan. 22 laps led Logan Hamilton. How'd the day go for you?
I was pretty disappointed with how qualifying went, especially just sitting there, thought we get stuck in the field, but it all kind of panned out with how the gridding sequence went. So I ended up actually starting 3rd instead of 5th. So I was able to just chill out for the first 2 stages. Really, I was burning my tires up a bit more than Jack was. But I mean, overall, I'm obviously really disappointed to miss out on my first win like that, just with the yellow coming out at a bad time. But I mean, there's always next week.
Right. Talk about that battle. First, I guess the strategy. Did you kind of know you were always going to short pit Jack, or were you just kind of going to follow the field, and if Jack stayed out, you're going to short pit him, or what was, I guess, the strategy called in that 3rd stage?
Yeah, originally, me and Stephen Parrott were talking about it. We were sitting there thinking that, well, we'd follow him in until lap 112 or 113, whatever it was, and if he didn't pit before then, we'd try to get an undercut on him. And I was surprised with how long he stayed out. So it panned out. Obviously, we got out front and got some laps led. And then I just got nervous when he got to me, and I was overdriving the car. So, and I think I probably would have got him if we didn't have that yellow come out at the end.
I was going to say, he was 2 seconds back, and then he got his tires up to temp and started chasing you down, and then the dynamics of the battle side by side and physically between you two. I guess, what was your point of view on everything? When he initially got into you, it looked like netcode to us, and then he kind of returned the favor into turn 3. Well, what was your thoughts on the entire physicality of y'all's battle?
I kind of figured I'm gonna go for it. I have the lead. I have I don't want to say I'm like entitled to that, but I had the good. I'm sorry, I'm not good.
Take your time.
Yeah, I had to get by him. I knew if he got by me, he was gonna drive away. And after Kansas, I was kind of to him. I mean, I try to be clean. I didn't mean to push him all the way up to the wall. But after Kansas, I figured I could give him the bumper, and he shouldn't get too much after me.
Right. That I was keeping that in mind. Talking about the physicality of you two, and knowing that could be a lingering factor. But tonight, I know you're disappointed you didn't get the win, but another good finish tonight with the runner-up here. What is, I guess, this doing for you, big picture-wise? You're still up there in the points, is it really more that you're not even thinking big picture at this point? It's trying to get the win because you're just hanging up there in points, or season-wise, what are you thinking after today?
Well, I think obviously big picture is you want to go for the title, but right now I've got a good place in the points, but you really can't get complacent in anything, especially racing. So I'd love to get that win, and that's a big priority right now. But I also want to stay up there and make sure I don't start losing points because I'm being too aggressive or taking people out and taking myself out.
Fair enough. Congratulations on the great run today and your 22 laps led. Who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out for getting it done today?
I want to give a big shout out to Tucson Sound Art, DSR Racing, Stephen Parrott. He's crew chief and spotter for me almost every week. So he's a big help to me, keep me cool and not overdrive the car like I was. I want to thank Colin Stone. He practiced with me a lot, and just all the guys in L-TAC for putting on such a great show every week, and thank you guys for broadcasting.
Absolutely. Once again, congratulations on the podium once again, and the speed you had today. Best luck to you next week, and yeah.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Yes, sir. We're going to be sending it back over to Eric Brennan, who's going to be standing by with our 4th place finisher tonight, Merrick Watchhorn.
Thanks a lot, Emerson. Yeah, we were hoping to catch up with the driver who rounded out our podium, but these two pretty much seemed locked together throughout the night. And Merrick Watchhorn, I know we missed out on a podium just by one position, but you and Joseph had a bit of contact earlier on in the race. I saw after the checkered flag, you expressed some displeasure. It was fun from a personal and biased perspective. It was fun to watch you come up through the field, but I know that you had a car that could have contended for victory. So overall, top 5 finish for you. Good night from the driver who came in 4th in points. You matched the finish there, but what is your take on how tonight went overall?
First and foremost, just want to thank all of the sponsors, Twiggy, Futuristic Studios, and of course Capture the Occasion Incorporated. Can't do it without those guys. Want to thank RCS and of course the admin teams, including y'all, for broadcasting. But personally, just with how the race went down tonight, I'm on the fence, honestly. We had a really strong car. Jack was going to be interesting to fight. I think if by the third stage, I started picking up on Jack's line, and he was kind of running the same line that I was, but I think that clean air was helping him out to be able to settle the nose, because the car just felt like the front sway bar was just a little too much. She would just overreact to just a little thing. So I guess open air, clean air is more important with these cars now with these grills, so it was just making the car unstable. But no, when everything went down throughout the race, I honestly didn't think I was going to make it back in the top 5. The car, it just shows how fast the car was. All night long I went from being dumped by the 20 and then got some I guess some payback, overall, just to be like, hey, I still came back up here. So it's a racing deal. We go to Texas next week, so we'll see what we can do there.
We were kind of marveling at the fact that you had an ability to send your car off into the corner, and if you happen to get put in a position where the back end would step out on you, you would still find a way to save it and kind of pull, I wouldn't call it a slide job, but you'd be able to regain control relatively quickly and get the pass made. I mean, was your comfort level with this setup and this track high from the beginning of the night, or did you kind of just evolve into a position where you can not only make passes, but you also were able to battle back from the aforementioned adversity? How did that come to pass? Did you know coming into tonight that this was going to suit you, or did you kind of grow into that as the race went on?
I think it was a little bit of both. Throughout the week, we've been doing practice with the whole crew, and the last couple of races, I've been actually, throughout the practice races, I've actually been winning them. I only lost like twice, but that was like to Logan because of pit strategy we were trying out and everything else. But during the race, I felt like coming in, I was probably the favorite to win. I during practice I dropped the fastest lap, and then qualifying I messed up on my second lap, got a little loose coming off the corner. I don't know if the track was just too hot, but it just the track. I think the temperature did a little bit, a lot of factor to how the 91 Twiggy machine just felt through the corners. It was kind of more of a learning curve, and as the run kept going, I was actually able to get kind of a feel for the car, but I just couldn't put down the power like I was throughout practice and throughout everything else. I was really trying to figure out, maybe it's my brake bias, if I'm too low or too high. Maybe I just it was a big learning curve. But by stage 3, finishing second and third in both stage 1 and 2, the car just started feeling a lot better, that I can actually handle the car. But overall, I mean, with how the track was and how traffic was, you had to set up your guy in front of you, either brake early or go into, just send it. And most of the time if you send it, you were burning up your stuff. So, I mean, the setup was aggressive, but you can also be defensive with it by running the outside and running like one lane up, and you can actually get the runoff. So overall, it was a big learning curve as the night progressed on.
And it provided, from our perspective, some pretty intense racing there towards the end, particularly after that last caution. Now, as we look at the schedule for the races going forward, we have a lot of tracks that appear to be right in your wheelhouse. I mean, your one victory this season came back at Chicagoland, which was the second to last time we were on a 1.5 mile, or as some may call it, a cookie cutter track. But we go to Texas next week, of course, the All-Star race in the Bristol Dirt, but Charlotte Roval, bit of a variable, but then it's Auto Club, Indy, Phoenix, and then the Charlotte Oval before the playoffs. What are your thoughts heading into this round of 6 races before that 16 race cutoff? Because I would think that based on your previous results and performances on tracks of that nature, you may be one of the favorites to watch as the series heads into playoff times. I mean, do you echo those same sentiments, or are there some tracks that you see up ahead that you've got some work to do in order to get your confidence to match some of the results we've seen from you so far this season?
Honestly, I think it's going to come down to just being consistent. It doesn't matter if I feel good about the track. I mean, anything can change week in and week out. You can have a bad day on race day and just be completely off, or you can have like the greatest day of all time and still get wrecked. So I mean, it's going to come down to being consistent, being smart about where we're going to put our position. It's a chess match. I mean, you're literally out there trying to figure out how you're going to overtake this one guy, or how you're going to be better than this guy who's the leader right now, or how am I going to save my tires in the next stage, or how I'm going to save more fuel in the next stage. So it's going to vary based on how the track is. But a lot of these intermediate tracks and cookie cutter tracks, like you said, I mean, it's going to come down to who's destined to win that night, really, because we have a lot of fast cars in this league. So it's going to be a fight to the finish, and hopefully you'll have more exciting finishes and I guess more drama to talk about.
It's a very authentic and genuine perspective as we have those handful of races still to come up. And Merrick, you've had a great season. Tonight's going to be your 6th top 5 of the season, your 8th top 10. As we mentioned, the one win at Chicagoland. You're up there in the top 5 in points. You mentioned a couple of your sponsors, but who else do you have to thank for this incredibly hot start to 2021 and what may be more positive results to come in the latter stages of the season?
Just want to thank my family, my friends. Thank RCS. Ryder, Taylor, Zach, and Richard. Fun group of guys. I'm glad I'm on the team. We get on each other's nerves, but you know what? At the end of the day, we're all really good buddies, and hopefully I can stay here for another season or two and continue racing for them. But things change, people change. So just Want to thank y'all for always giving us a great broadcasting team and broadcasting crew, and getting all those little extra details throughout the race. It's really cool watching it over and over again, and doing my own little video studying to see who is really faster here, so I can kind of associate with different tracks going forward to kind of be like, all right, he's probably gonna be fast here, but this guy's probably not. So always thankful to y'all to giving us the appreciation and love that we all deserve in the L-TAC community.
Well, we wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for the talent and the drivers, and more importantly, the personalities that are able to come out of watching you compete in these events. And Merrick, we thank you for sticking around and being able to talk about your 4th place run tonight. Sorry about the luck that plagued you throughout this event to not put you up there battling for the win, but nevertheless, we all knew you were here. You put on a show for us, and we're excited to see what you have in store for us at Texas 1 week from tonight. Congratulations on another top 5 finish this season and what's been a strong 2021 for you and your team.
Thanks, guys. Top 5 finish, that's a win in my book.
Yeah, and it's especially as we're looking at some of the slow-mos here, all the damage to the left side of that car. It's incredible. Great job, Merrick. And hopefully we'll talk to you next week, buddy.
See y'all later.
And again, that is Merrick Watchorn, who finished 4th here in tonight's race. That ended up going to Jack B. Ryan for the 3rd time this season. And Emerson Arden, I'll tell you, it was I thought it was a great race through and through. We got to hear from some of our front-running finishers. Let's take a look at how the rest of the field came to the checkered flag when all was said and done for the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. As you see, Jack B. Ryan, final margin of victory, about 3/4 of a second when he came to the line ahead of Logan Hamilton, who keep tabs on his level of dejection at the finish. He ran very, 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 very hard at the end of that race, and a runner-up finish for a driver who's 3rd in points. You would think he would have so much to be happy about, but knowing that he's been so close to victory is something we're going to keep our eyes on, and I think it's going to motivate Logan a little bit more to perhaps be able to get up there and do whatever it takes to find victory. And Joseph, even though we didn't get a chance to hear from him, he came back for a pit road penalty. We heard about the contact between him and Watchorn. They come home 3rd and 4th respectively, and again, thanks to Merrick Watchorn for sticking around and talking to us there to talk about this top 5 finish for him on the season. While points leader Holden McGill, another relatively quiet night. Looks as though he's going to be able to keep the points lead when all said and done. Top 5 finish for Holden McGill. That would be his 7th of the season in the 12 races he's partaken in so far. Jeremy Berger bounced back from causing our first caution due to an incident for a 6th place finish. Great run for him. Taylor Butcher Benjamin also bounced back from a pit lane penalty to finish in 7th. Barrick Uphold, who's trying to get up there and take away that 16th place in points. This run may do it heading into next week's round in Texas, while Brett Fisher was in 9th, and Brendan Jenks, after getting shuffled out of line on the final restart, able to salvage the top 10 and what I believe is his L-TAC debut.
Yeah, I believe it was as well, and that was a great run from Jenks. Hopefully he can come back with some similar pace in the coming weeks as well. Heading on to the next page, Colin Stone will come home 11, 3.5 seconds back off the lead. Grant Peterson, he had some trouble early. He drove his way through the field and then had another issue that put him towards the back of the pack, and we just never saw him after that again. He was really toughing it out in the midfield. He'll come home 12th. Stefan Purcell will come on 13th. Sean Deal actually finishes the thing out. I think we were told that he was going to start in park, so glad to see him finish it out. He'll come on 14th. Ryder Schrauf 15th. Robert Pattengale had some trouble early trying to avoid, I believe it was Grant Peterson. He'll come home 16th. Frank Flores 17th. Kevin Franks will be the first driver 1 lap down and 18th, pitting late there at the end of the race. Richard Springer will be 2 down and 19th. Ryan Dingler, man, had a great run today, and then just one mistake there towards the end. He'll come home in 20th.
And we'll take a look at the rest of the field as Cole Freilich, who's up in the top 10 at one point in this race, was up there in the mix, wink, wink, to try to contend for a top 5 position there at the end of this race. 21st is where he came home. Tommy Gossett, we really didn't see much of him after the start of this race. Rob Melnick was 23rd, and Bradley Walters takes you through the rest of the field. 24 cars deep were slated to come down for the green flag. Now, as we mentioned, we're going to be getting set here for the next race for the L-TAC Cup Series, which is going to be at the Texas Motor Speedway 1 week from tonight. That race is going to take place on April 16th, and of course, we'll have coverage for you here on Pit Stop TV. We also want to take one more opportunity to thank some of our partners here who make these events possible, allow us a chance to get together on Friday nights such as this to kind of call the action for you, including our friends at Tucson Sound Art. Now, the Sound of Art of Tucson, or as you see on the bottom of your screen, the URL TucsonSoundArt.com. Your picture, your music is the slogan they lean on, and they mean that in every way you could possibly imagine. Take whatever picture you would like. They will create a custom, beautiful, high-quality framed canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. And with the evolution of sound art, you can get the best of both worlds. So if you want an opportunity as to all the products and services they have available, visit the website you see on the bottom right-hand portion of your screen, TucsonSoundArt.com, to learn more. And please don't forget to use the promo code PitStopTV at checkout to receive 10% off your purchase. Again, TucsonSoundArt.com for more. As Emerson Arden mentioned earlier, Race Pace Setups, one of the newest partners on the Pit Stop TV platform, has already paid big dividends to some of our members on the team as far as their success in the sim racing world. If you ever wish that you had a race engineer on speed dial, this is your opportunity. You see the Discord link on the bottom right-hand portion of your screen, because thanks to Race Pace, which is a driver development service and setup shop all rolled into one, you can work with Tyler as well as a couple of other members of their team who is a real-world race engineer. Step up your game before your next race and pick up the pace with Race Pace. Again, that's Race Pace Setups, the newest partner to the Pit Stop TV platform. We're also brought to you by our friends at Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, because when it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. Now, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Bullier, a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. You can contact Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine on their website, permanentmakeupinmaine.com, or you can call them or text them at the number provided on their website as well, because if you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, you have to give Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine a call today to book your consultation. And you see the website, permanentmakeupinmaine.com, for more. Lastly, we want to thank, of course, the parent company, the Pit Stop TV, Whiplash Media. Now, Whiplash Media specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs like what you saw tonight, and so much more. Now, Whiplash Media is also working on their presence in real racing as well, and they have services available such as photography, social media management, public relations, and more. To learn more about all that Whiplash Media can do for you, visit whiplash-media.com to learn more. Emerson, I think I speak on behalf of all on our team here tonight. For you, Corey Rexford, of course, who's handling things on social media, and of course, want to remind everybody watching our production, you want to join our crew, there's how. This race exceeded my expectations pretty much in a large scale. I thought we were going to see yellow fever. I thought we were going to be here well past midnight on the East Coast, and it's just after 11:30, which means we still got a little bit more time to sit back, relax, and go back and watch how this race unfolded from a distance. And these guys put on a great show, but Jack B. Ryan just absolutely dominated. The Magic Mile produced some magic tonight in more ways than one, and I think we were privy to a pretty entertaining race all the way through.
Absolutely. I also was not expecting the show we got today in a few different ways. I definitely was not expecting the amount of yellows that we had last season at New Hampshire, for sure. I knew this series had progressed past that point. But the racing we had today was phenomenal. I was not expecting as much side-by-side action as we had today at New Hampshire, which is traditionally a single lane, very, very difficult to overtake on flat racetrack, and it just was not that today. It looked like a blast out there in those Cup cars.
And this whole field, which continues to be incredibly competitive, as we mentioned in the lead-in, so many different winners coming into tonight's race. It was 9 different winners in 11 races. We thought maybe there was a high probability we would go 10 for 12, but Jack B. Ryan said, "Nuh-uh, not going to happen. I'm going to grab my 3rd win of the season." He did just that, with still a lot of racing left to go. Speaking of a lot of racing still to go, as you see on the bottom portion of our screen here, Corey Rexford, as I mentioned, holding it down on social media. If you want to check out all that Pit Stop TV has to offer, you can check us out on Facebook.com/PitStopTV/, also on Twitter.com/PitStopTV_. We're also on Twitch as well, Twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV/ and YouTube.com/PitStopTV1/ to keep up to pace to all that we have going on here on the platform. And speaking of, we still have a pretty full schedule. As we start to hit a point in the season in which some of the winter and spring leagues start to transition to all that they have coming for the rest of 2021, we still got a lot of races here on Pit Stop to keep tabs on, including Sunday. It's going to be the XSLR Rallycross at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Andrew Cardinale IV has had a blast putting those races on. It's a really interesting optic in order to see some of the areas of iRacing which often get a spotlight shined on them when you're kind of having some fun on the sim by yourself. But if you want to see a really good, high-quality competitive series, the XSLR Rallycross at Charlotte is going to be one you want to check out Sunday night here on Pit Stop TV. Tuesday night, the NORC 13 season, their third race of the season at Michigan with the Xfinity cars. That's going to be live on Pit Stop TV as well. You'll see the likes of Cole Freilich and a couple others in that field. Again, Tuesday here on Pit Stop TV. And of course, Wednesday, we're going to keep it rolling with the IORL IndyCar Series season opener at Long Beach, one of the toughest street courses on the platform. And you're going to see the IORL IndyCar Series there on Wednesday night as well. And of course, 1 week from tonight, the L-TAC Cup Series continues on before their All-Star race break. Their next race on the docket, round number 13 at the Texas Motor Speedway, again, next Friday night here on the platform. So Emerson, we got a lot to look forward to. This L-TAC Cup Series already in high gear. What a race we had here tonight. Still 6 races to go to the playoffs. I think we're going to see a few more winners. I think we're going to see a whole lot of racing similar to what we had here tonight with the slate of tracks and events that we still have yet to come.
Absolutely. This L-TAC Cup Series is in just, full swing, and the competitors, there's still so many out there that still have yet to win. I can't say we're even close to the amount of winners we're going to have this season because it is just that competitive. I know Jack B. Ryan, he's kind of emerging as a favorite with his third win on the season. But again, Logan Hamilton, again, there week in and week out, just hasn't been able to get it done. Joseph is hanging in there. Ryan Dingler had a great run today. He's looking for a win. There's so many names that are up here and competitive that don't have a win yet, and I'm just so I'm anxious to see when are they going to get it done, really.
Yeah, this series is giving me a lot to look forward to as far as something to do on a Friday night. And I'm having a blast being a part of it, and I know you are as well. And we hope that you watching have enjoyed our coverage tonight as well of the L-TAC Cup Series. And as we mentioned, we'll be back in 1 week's time from the virtual Texas Motor Speedway as we continue on to see how this championship season unfolds. But until then, I want to say on behalf of Corey Rexford, who was taking care of our social media duties here tonight, also serving as a bit of an in-race reporter, passing along some penalty information that served very valuable throughout our broadcast. Emerson Arden, who is the MVP of the night. Not only was he the second voice you heard tonight on the broadcast, he also handled our production efforts as well. A-plus effort from Emerson, as always. I'm Eric Brennan. I look forward to seeing you all next time on the platform as we have plenty of racing still to come in 2021 on Pit Stop TV. But till next time, we will see you all soon. For L-TAC, it'll be next week at Texas. But until then, I want to wish you all the best weekend possible, and we will see you next time. Good night, everybody.
Sound Art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it Sound Art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound Art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture, upload it onto a canvas, and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.